Thank you all for allowing me to come up here, chat to you all today. I can't wait to get started. Please reach out via email if you have any suggestions or you want to get started. I just want to hit the ground running. I've already had meetings with a bunch of you as to what you're interested in. Can't wait to get started. Thank you all so much.
Good evening. My name is Blake Irwin, and I am here today before you running for speaker because I have a vision of what the Senate could be. A vision I believe many, if not all of you share, but one which is not currently within our reach, but with a few months of hard work could be. I have a vision of a Senate which is proactive, which makes a real difference on campus, and which is senator-led, not led by one or two or even a handful of senators, but one in which every single senator has the chance to take the lead, to make a difference on the floor of the Senate. And there are a couple of policies which I will immediately begin pursuing if elected, which I believe will accomplish the goal of making this vision a reality. I would start with the Speaker's office itself. The Speaker's office is at the moment far too powerful. They have the ability to overrule the parliamentarian and deputy speaker at any time, despite the fact that a parliamentarian and deputy speaker are given their own mandates to carry out their duties. So I would change the standing rules to give the deputy speaker and parliamentarian independence. Even more egregious than that is the fact that the speaker can block any piece of legislation from reaching the floor of the Senate. I would immediately change that. Well, I don't mean immediately. As soon as I can get the legislation through Constitutional Revision Committee and to the floor of the Senate, to make it so that there is a number of senators who, if they are sponsoring the bill, it cannot be blocked by the speaker from reaching the Senate floor. Finally, I think it is outrageous that the speaker is the only member of the Senate who receives payment. I believe it sets the office apart from the rest of the Senate. Therefore, at the earliest convenience, I will meet with the Budget Committee of Whitewater Student Government to discuss how we can reapportion that money, either giving it back to the students of Whitewater or dividing it up to make a small payment for every senator on the Senate, with my hope being that that small payment would show some appreciation to each of the senators, as well as provide a small incentive for people who are on the fence about whether or not they want to join the Senate. That being said, I do not think a small payment is enough to fill the ranks of our Senate. Since joining the Senate, it has never been full. So I will begin policies which I believe will increase students' awareness and participation in the Whitewater student government. If elected, I will begin talking with the first-year experienced people to try to make it so that every freshman who enrolls in our school is aware of what student government is, how they can join it, and of the fact that there is a group here on campus solely dedicated to taking care of them and their needs. And I will place flyers up all across the campus with the very simple message: have a problem, report it. The flyers will have a QR code on them, which will allow people to scan it and report any issue they're having on campus to the Senate. And it will go into a Google Drive, which every senator will have access to. This will allow senators to go into whenever they have a free time, maybe for their office hour, and review what issues people are having and start to work on solutions. But of course, senators come to the Senate with their own solutions, which is why I believe that many senators don't really get to make that much progress on the issues that they come to the Senate to solve, which is why, if elected, I will continue Speaker Wilson's tradition of meeting with every member of the Senate. And during those meetings, I will try to identify what issue is most important to you. And once we've identified it, We will figure out a plan, and I will work relentlessly to support you in accomplishing that goal, so that by the end of your term next semester, you can point to something and say, I made this better. In this way, I made an improvement for my fellow students. I believe that the Senate can do so much more for the campus, that we can make a real difference, of course, on campus. And if elected as your speaker, I will devote myself to tirelessly supporting you so you can make that change. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you both. We're going to move into questions here. Since we're a little bare tonight on the Senate side, we will also be accepting questions from the gallery, with priority be given to sitting senators. So, get the fun started. Questions, please. Both questions must be asked to both candidates. We do not have a cutoff set number of questions. Senator Rodriguez.
You've both been around for a while. What's been your favorite moment of being in WSG?
Oh, thank you. I truly do love the Senate meetings. It's the only time when every member of student government is in a room together. I believe it's really the pinnacle of a senator's responsibilities when they're sitting in the Senate. I must confess that I love the parliamentary and Robert's Rules of Order, seeing them in action and practicing them myself. So, yeah, the Senate meetings.
I have a more exact moment. When I was a freshman, at the end of my freshman year, I think a lot of folks perceive our kind of end of year celebration, if you were, as the banquet. But for many of the senators and directors in the room, it's actually the last meeting of the year, because that's when we say goodbye to graduating seniors, people who may be leaving York, and I think the only time I've ever cried on the floor of the Senate was when Justin Westlake was leaving, and he had given his speech, and we got to go around and say what each person who was there meant to us. And in talking about the difference that I think Justin made, the mentorship that he gifted me, in talking about Matt Schweiner and his ability to relentlessly make a difference on the floor of the Senate, in talking about Vice President Emeritus Max Survey, in his leadership and his ability to always speak last, and in talking about President Will Hins, President Emeritus Will Hins, who is maybe to this day one of the best servant leaders I've ever seen in practice. That was easily the most emotional moment I've ever had on the floor of the Senate, and probably my favorite. Thank you.
Together?
I would question that both candidates. I think you both first would be fabulous speakers. My question would be, what do you two disagree on? I mean, it sounds like you both have great visions for what the Senate can be, but what makes your plans different? How would you disagree with one another? What is something that one of you would do that the other one wouldn't?
I think that's a great question. And I think a lot of what Blake mentioned is absolutely true. I think the payment of the speaker is something that we should look at. I think there are systematic problems if I were to just outline exactly from what Blake said that I disagree with, I think there are some systematic issues in paying every senator. I think part of what makes the Senate so special is our ability to have people fill the gallery and run for appointment. But what that means sometimes is that when ranks are low, occasionally people are sitting on the Senate who don't stay around a while, and giving them a stipend of some sort at the beginning or end of their term could be problematic. That's something to start that I disagree with. I don't know. I guess I kind of disagree with Google Drive. I'm open to hearing what the Senate wants in terms of moving forward, but I do think that Google Drive has been ineffective in allowing every single senator to see the materials that make it so important. If elected as Speaker, I think I would utilize Connect 2 and a Canvas page to ensure that every newly appointed and newly elected senator can get the quiz or the learning materials that are necessary post-oath, if you will. to make sure that they feel acclimated to the Senate. And I think Connect 2 is a much better way of doing that than a Google Drive. And I think in terms of a Canvas page instead of a Google Drive, I think having more resources allotted for every senator and a place that you go to look at all of your classwork, I think showing that our work in this room is similar in its importance to our studies is as a visual reminder all the time, but as a nice convenient place to find all of the work that we do here in student government. I think those are some initial disagreements that I would point out from what Blake said in his speech.
I think the core difference between me and Senator Wilson would be the degree of our changes. Not to say that either of us want changes that are small or ineffective, but I would say that the changes I envision for the Senate are of a greater departure from what we have currently. Once again, I'm not trying to say that Senator Wilson's changes would be in any way ineffective or bad, but I do think the degree from which they are different from the current functioning of the Senate is quite different.
Director Khan?
I really liked your guys' speeches, and you guys had a lot of good points, but if you could change one thing on campus, what would it be?
If I could change one thing on campus, what would it be? If I could change one thing on campus, I would make every student on campus very aware and very passionate about student government, because student government, and really any government, only works when the people it's representing are aware and invested in it. So I think if we had the student body more aware and more invested in what we were doing, there would be no end to the things this body could accomplish.
Zay, great question. This is the fourth time I think I'm answering, and I'm changing this time because I think generally I stood up here and kind of used it as an opportunity to speak to why the Senate should change or how we could change our relationship to the student body or our internal relationship in here, and I think that is far too small of an answer possibly. Instead, I would, stealing an answer from a past mentor of mine, give us an endowment the size of Harvard. We would have as much money as Harvard University in donations, and I think that would radically change the life of every student here on campus. And is that like a fair answer? Of course not. But if I could change one thing and I guess money and labor were no object, I would load us with as much money as possible so that every student could really be adequately represented. I think the point of what we do in this room is we make sure that students can navigate through the purple tape, if you will, that the university faces, because to be honest, I mean, there's not enough resources to make sure that everybody gets lobster at Esther. And I think that's exactly why our body exists, is to make sure that we get always the best we can for students. We come to the table to bargain for.
Thank you.
Senator Carter?
Yeah, you both said you wanted to make campus aware of WSG and everything like that. In the past, we've had outreach events and that. How will you make sure that the parliamentarian, because you both, this position does lead Senate leadership, how would you make sure the parliamentarian is making sure that each senator does their outreach event, and also if we do tabling, that we're actually saying the correct stuff to students and everything like that?
I think it's a great question. And I think, gosh, I remember one of the first WSG moments I ever had, if we go back to Senator Patricus' question about favorite moments. I'm not sure this was a favorite moment at the time because it did sting a bit, but me and Doug walked around campus and we counted security cameras in the UC, and at the same time, we were working to solve the issues that we're still working to solve right now. Like, how do we get more students involved and where when it comes to Whitewater student government? And I had the speaker at the time, Justin Westlake, tell me two things, one of which I now believe is a more truth of our work about security cameras and how we navigate through the purple tape that I was just talking about. But the other one that I think I still disagree with Justin on to this day, which is that grassroots doesn't work. And I said we should be tabling more. And we should ensure that senators have the right resources when they go out to table. And we should ensure that, I think tabling is nice, and people walk by and it's a great way to collect student concerns. Even better than that is holding large-scale events to make sure that students are well heard. Even better than that is going to student organizations as an outreach event, not to sit in the back while, the Black Student Union is giving a presentation, or sit in the back of chess club and afterward talk to only the president, but instead come in, give a meaningful presentation about what student government is, or, to take it even a step further, and to, I would say, build on an idea that Blake mentioned in his initial speech. How are we going to make sure that every single freshman on campus knows what WSG is? Well, it's almost impossible. But a lot of them go to new student seminar. And by creating relationships with lead mentors, peer mentors, and the first year experience office, getting into new student seminar, ensuring that those opportunities count as outreach events. Me and Doug did that, when was that? Maybe the second or third week of school. We went to Dr. Eric Leff's new student seminar class, and we just gave a little pitch about why you should join WSG, what we do, how we can help you. And I think that utilizing those relationships as outreach events makes outreach events so much more effective than the way they've been treated in the past.
So, with the two questions, how will we ensure the parliamentarian is doing their job, and how do we make sure that outreach events are successful? I have very different answers. With the parliamentarian, as I said in my speech, I believe that the speaker should have less influence over the other two members of deputy speakership. You all elect them to do their jobs. I believe that they should be allowed to do them with consultation, but not at the direction of the speaker. However, I do believe that all three members of Senate leadership need greater accountability, which is why I will continue and try to expedite an idea that was being discussed at the last semester of adding in provisions to the standing rules, which allows for an impeachment of any of the three officers if the Senate grows dissatisfied with the work that they're doing. So that, I think, would ensure that the parliamentarian and every other member of Senate leadership is living up to the expectations the Senate sets for them. As for how to make sure outreach events are successful, I think this touches on a much larger, very important point of the Senate, of how do we make sure senators know what to do? Because we only have 2 training sessions, one for SUFAC and then one in the spring that covers everything else. And then if you don't get everything you need from those, you're kind of just left to learn it as you go. That's why if I'm elected speaker, I'll begin training sessions, not necessarily with me, but with whoever is best suited to prepare skills. They will be unique to any senator that wants them. So if you want to learn how to better do outreach events, we'll set up a training session where you can learn how to do that. If you want to learn how to table better, a training session. If you want to learn how to write legislation or need to gain confidence with your public speaking or how to do committee work, all of those things can be taught. And if elected speaker, I will make sure that you have access to the resources you need to learn how to do them.
Further questions, please? Keith Houston from the library.
How do you plan on working with the e-board and senators in accomplishing your goals?
Well, the speaker's primary role is to the senators, so they will be my first focus. And the way I view all members' Senate leadership is that, senators are servants of their constituents. Members of Senate leadership are the servants of the servants. So that is how I would approach my relationship with all of you, as what I can do to assist you. It's not about directing you or including you in some project. It's about making sure you have your own project. that you get into any projects that you want to be a part of, doing whatever I can to raise you up. As for my relationship with the e-board, I think that's primarily one of coordination, making sure that they can get what they need before the Senate, and making sure that the Senate gets what they need before the e-board. So that's how I would approach my relationship to that, in a very professional manner, though I do know several members of the e-board, and I think I hope I have fairly good relationships with many of them. But whenever I approach the e-board, it will be with the intention of what can I do with this relationship which serves senators, as I believe that serving senators is how I can best serve the community at Whitewater.
That's a great question, Heath. And I think, in general, when I say the speakership is about internal leadership and direction, I think a huge portion of that is the interaction with the executive board and with the president and vice president. Because I think so much of the change that we have the ability to make, we can come up with here on the floor of the Senate. We can figure out as we spend our office hour, and I use this example all the time, but I think being a senator is about, if you're in a little car as you drive through your everyday life as a student, it's just about having the windows open to hear what's going on in other cars and to feel the bumps in the road a little more acutely so that you can bring them into this room and we can solve the problems that we go through every day. But what's pivotal to that is directors have access to so many different administrators. They have extreme expertise in navigating through that. And to think that we as a Senate can navigate that alone, I think is hopeful, but not particularly honest. This is a symbiotic relationship, because it has to be. That's the reason we have the powers split the way they are, so that the directors continue to demonstrate their expertise, their knowledge, and their access when we need to create the kind of change that best serves students. And I think that the role as speaker plays that middle portion. It's the reason the speaker gets invited to cabinet meetings, and it's the reason the president is invited and encouraged to sit in on Senate leadership.
Well, one more question from the gallery, please.
So, for both of you, what is the biggest challenge you have ever faced as a leader? And have you overcome it, or how do you plan to overcome it?
Biggest challenge we face as a leader? Well, this is a good question. And to be honest, I didn't think I would talk about this again, but I spent last year assisting in the running of a company in Charleston, South Carolina. And when I made the decision that I was going to depart, it was probably the biggest challenge I'd ever faced as a leader, because I looked at the faces of people who I employed and who we paid, and I had to say I'm stepping away. And I love being here in front of you all today. And I think I 100% made the correct choice in coming back to school to follow my passion. I'm a political science major. I want to do this kind of stuff for the rest of my life. But to be able to communicate as a leader to the people who are going to continue doing work when you're not around is so hard, in saying that I'm pivoting. I'm moving direction a little bit in my life. And the month or two, or ended up being about 3, that I was doing my exit, the way I communicated with those folks to ensure that they were able to continue working at full effect, the way I had to navigate making sure that they were going to continue getting paid on time, that they were going to continue to feel the leadership from my business partner that they needed to feel in that moment, that's the hardest challenge I've ever faced as a leader, and I think I navigated it well. Thank you.
The hardest challenge I face in a leadership role is absolutely giving way. I'm someone who likes consensus, who strives for consensus in whatever group I'm leading. And it's no secret to most of the members of this body that I'm also an incredibly stubborn person. So when the consensus isn't being formed in my favor, I can dig in my heels. Fortunately, this incoming position is not one in which I think my job is to build a consensus on most issues. On internal administrative things, yes, and in those I will be guided by my belief that I am here to serve all of you. But in most cases, my job is not to, in fact, lead, but to support, stand beneath and raise you all up. So, and in that, my stubbornness will be an asset because I won't rest until you're the ones who get your way. Thank you.
Stubborn's a better word.
Thank you.
Determined is a better word.
Dylan, you can please take your seats again.
Okay, Brett.
We're gonna move into
Determined.
silent vote here, so the clerk's gonna hand out little slips of paper. You're to write one name, either Wilson or Irwin, last names please. The clerk will then collect those, and we will tally the votes.
Can't control.
We will have the speaker. Again, one name please, either Wilson or Irwin, spelling is on the board. Writing advice, any questions? Again, thank you to both Senator Irwin and Senator Wilson. Not easy to get up in front of your peers and do what they just did, so kudos to the two of them. With a vote of 5-2 with 2 abstentions, congratulations to Senator Wilson, being elected the next Speaker of Whitewater Student Government. Deja vu. You've been appointed by a body of your peers to serve as the Speaker of the 37th Senate of the Whitewater Student Government. Understand that you've been chosen to perform such an active and important role. You accept the position of Speaker and all the responsibilities, duties, and privileges that it will include. If so, say I will to the best of my ability.
I will, to the best of my ability.
Repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear.
I, Isaiah Wilson, do solemnly swear
To fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office.
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
To be knowledgeable of
to be knowledgeable of
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
the WSG standing rules,
the WSG standing rules,
and university policies
and university policies
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. It is my honor to introduce the Speaker of the 37th Senate of the Whitewater Student Government.
I gotta do some movement, I'm so sorry, folks. All right, I'd like to start by, if we could just extend the applause for Doug Bradley for a moment. President Doug Bradley, what is that? And as we move forward, we will move into the election of, real quick, if you could. Every time I get so nervous, it's so wild to be up there in front of you all. Thank you so much for entrusting me with this yet again. I do not take it lightly whatsoever. I'll go over some other things when I have time for a report, but thank you all so much for entrusting me yet again. It's thus far it's been the greatest honor in my life, so thank you. With that, we will move on to the election of a deputy speaker. We will run it precisely the same way as we just ran the speaker election, so we'll start by looking for nominations for a deputy speaker. Can we get a nomination for deputy speaker? Senator Carter.
I nominate Senator Patricus.
Can I get a second? Seconded by Senator Schmidt. Senator Patricus, do you accept?
I do.
Wonderful. Any other nominations? Going once. Going twice. Seeing none. Senator Patricus, if you'd like to come up, make sure your name is spelled correctly for the Vice President. Great job, Mark. And Senator Nick Patricus, you have 3 minutes to tell us why you would like to be the next Deputy Speaker of the Whitewater Student Government, and go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Patricus. I'm a junior, majoring in public policy administration. A few things about me. I was a member of Senate leadership last semester as parliamentarian. I'm currently the vice chair of educational outreach for SUFAC, and as a part of that, because of that, a member of the non-alcohol leadership team with President Bradley, Vice President Bame, and Speaker Wilson. A couple other things about me, but we don't have to get into that now tonight. I really enjoyed my time in WSG, every second of it. I think this role will best suit my experience. The deputy speaker really has 2 main roles that are defined in standing rules. That's running meetings in absence of the speaker, and then tracking attendance. I've got experience with both of those, running meetings as chair of a city commission through SUFAC, and I also ran the election of the speaker last semester. Also tracking attendance, that's really just Excel management. If you know anything about me, I love spreadsheets. I've been doing that all semester through updating the roster, so you keep seeing that. But it's really the standing rules define roles, right? More important than those, I think, is building relationships with everyone. Last semester as parliamentarian, at the end of my term, I wanted to collect feedback on how outreach events happened. And originally I was going to do a form just to collect feedback. It's actually in my report if you go back far enough. I decided not to do that and just have one-on-ones with every one of you. I think that proved to be a much better experience. I got to connect with a lot of you who I would see every Monday, but not in the office. But I really want to promote more of that. Maybe not through one-on-ones, but just having these open and honest conversations in the office. I really love having those. Yeah, I've been really looking forward to this semester and then continuing building on from last. Spent all of winter break working on a parliamentarian transition binder. The last one was about 14 years old, so I think that one's in the office if you want to look at what the parliamentarian in 2011 was up to. President Bradley, Vice President Bame, Director Smith, Speaker Wilson, and myself met over winter break to work on a legislation wall. It's not done yet. As soon as I get command scripts, it will be, but all the legislation is sitting in the office, so if you want to look at that. And all the posts keep been in there. 1 million post-its up on the wall. Apologize, it'll be done soon. I just need command scripts.
On their way.
On the way. Look at that. There's a few other things I'd like to do, and if you're interested in what this semester looks like, feel free to have a conversation with me. But with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield.
All right, that will move into questions. We won't limit questions, it's quite an important position. So let's move into questions. Who's got some?
Well, I'll open with the most important question, one that I am shocked and offended that me and Speaker Wilson did not receive. If you were a tool in a toolbox, what tool would you be?
Thank you, Senator Irwin. Last night sitting there preparing for a little bit more, and I was thinking, all right, what questions am I going to be asked? I hope I get this one. I love this question, and I know it's kind of a joke question. Everyone over here is laughing about it. I love this question. When it was originally told to me, I was told, like, oh yeah, there's a couple wrong answers, just don't pick like a hammer or something. I think I disagree with that. There really is no wrong answer to this question. It's just how, like, the creativity of how you can define yourself, right? So I think since the first time I was asked this question, I've had the same answer, and that's a digital caliper. It's just something that not everyone has in their toolbox. I don't have one in my toolbox. But I used to be in a shop class where I did put that in my toolbox. It was my favorite tool because it was very precise. You got to the 100th of an inch, or 1,000th of an inch, I think. But yeah, I think I like to see myself as very attention detailed. Yeah, so I'd be a digital caliper.
Any other questions? Yeah.
What would be one improvement or one major change that you think would improve the office that you were running for from the previous administration?
Yeah. I love spreadsheets. I think I said that earlier. But I talked with multiple previous deputy speakers and seen how they track attendance, and it's all it's like manual. Like, all right, this person was absent this day. Now I have to go and edit the total, put that in there, edit the total for their meetings absence, and then edit the total of how many they did. Over winter break, I actually made a whole new form. If you're interested in looking at it, or see me after, I can show it to you. I think it's really cool. It's all automatic. Yeah, sorry.
Any other questions? Director comment.
Associate director.
Associate director comment. Sorry, this is my first time.
If you were to get criticism, how would you take it and how would you make sure the critic feels heard?
I don't know if any of us are really great at taking criticism. People come up here. I've seen a lot of people up here, and they're all say, I take it in stride. And I'll be honest, I don't think I'm that great at taking criticism. I don't think anyone is. But I feel like I try to address it, and I will sit on it for a while, and then think about it, and then I look and turn my anger outward, and they're just wrong. They don't know the facts. They don't know the whole process. No, I just turn it inwards and be like, all right, they made some good points. Maybe I can do this. So, and I can see how I can adjust what I do in the future.
Go on. Other questions? I have. If time, money, and labor were no object, what's going to be the challenge?
Maybe very selfishly, I would expand the WSG office like 40 times. Give everyone their own office. I'd love to just be able to like come to work and sit at my desk rather than the desk that everyone else is at. Not that I don't like any of you, but it's just sometimes I need my own space, and I think having my own desk facilitate that. I'd also love to like, I gotta go see Isaiah. Let me go knock on his door and see what he's up to. But that's, I think it's time, money, and labor.
Any other questions? Going once? Going twice? See none, with that we will move into a secret ballot vote. Madam Clerk, please go around and pass out. So you have a couple choices. You can write in aye or nay. A vote of Patricus, which is spelled on the board, will also be a vote in favor of the candidate. A vote of nay will be a vote against the candidate. A vote of aye will also be a vote in favor of the candidate. Anybody have questions on that? Perfect. Thank you. I spelled, I got it. senators just about doing this.
today. Oh, these are questions up.
It is my honor to congratulate the next Deputy Speaker of the Senate in a unanimous vote, Nick Petrie. You have been appointed by a body of your peers to serve as the Deputy Speaker of the 37th Senate of the Whitewater Student Government. Understanding that you have been chosen to perform such an active and important role, do you accept the position of Deputy Speaker and all the responsibilities, duties, and privileges that it will include? If so, say "I will" to the best of my ability.
I will to the best of my ability.
Repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear
I, Nicholas Patricus, do solemnly swear
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to be knowledgeable of
to be knowledgeable of
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
the WSG standing rules,
WSG standards,
and university policy
and university policy,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Nick Petrukas. It is my honor to introduce the newest Deputy Speaker of the 37th Student Government. Wonderful. And with that, we'll move into the election of a parliamentarian, which will run the same way as the previous two elections. Can I get a nomination? Deputy Speaker Petrukas.
I nominate Senator Rosquist.
Can I get a second? And by Senator Cart. Do you accept?
Accept.
Wonderful. Any other nominations, Deputy Speaker Nick Petrukas?
I nominate Senator Irwin.
Wonderful. Can I get a second? Second by Senator Esterholm. Senator Irwin, do you accept?
I do.
Any other nominations? I will call myself to nominate Nathan Schmidt. Anyone interested in second?
Second.
Deputy Speaker Patricus seconds. Senator Schmidt, do you accept?
I'm going to decline.
All right. Anyone else? Any other nominations? Going once, twice. Seeing none, wonderful. With that, we will run it the same way. Both senators, if you will now rise, please make sure your name is spelled correctly by the Vice President on the board. All right. Wonderful. Name is spelled correctly? Good. So you will each get 3 minutes to tell the Senate a little bit about why you want to be the next parliamentarian in the Whitewater Student Government. And we'll begin.
All right. Hello, everyone, fellow students, faculty. It is a privilege to stand before you today and discuss the future of our campus and the invaluable role each of you play here in shaping the student government. Our student government serves as a voice of the student body, representing diverse perspectives and interests. And together we have the power to create an inclusive environment where every student feels valued, heard, and empowered. To participate in our community, it is a responsibility to ensure that our initiatives reflect the needs and aspirations of all students by fostering a vibrant and supportive campus culture. Moreover, we must focus on key issues that impact our student experience, such as mental health resources, academic support, and sustainability initiatives. By working together, we can advocate for the policies, that enhance our education and well-being, ensuring that all students have the tools they need to thrive. During my time on campus, I have held multiple leadership positions, including Vice President of Philanthropy, Vice President of Recruitment for my sorority, and as well as serving as the current President of Association for Supply Chain Management and one of the Homecoming Steering Committee interns. These experiences have equipped me with the tools I need to effect positive change and have leadership. With my skills, qualities, and experiences, I am confident that I can bring a fresh perspective to this role and serve the student body effectively. Together, let's make this semester one of collaboration, success, and meaningful impact. Thank you.
Good evening. Some of you may remember me. My name is Senator Irwin. The parliamentarian effectively has two roles: outreach events and ensuring that the standing rules and Robert's Rules of Order are properly understood and upheld by the Senate. I'll start with their role in ensuring the standing rules are upheld. In the time that I've been here, I've had a chance to serve on many external and every internal committee, as well as serve on Senate leadership. I have also had the opportunity to be part of drafting every change in the standing rules since I have been here. I believe that this, as well as my own intensive study, gives me a comprehensive understanding of the standing rules, how they are meant to work, and what the intention was behind writing them. Furthermore, there are very few things which I value more than following the rules. They provide us order. They ensure that our conduct and method is correct. And so if elected your parliamentarian, you can have full faith and confidence that I will ensure that the rules are followed to the letter. As for outreach events, I would incorporate some of the things I previously talked about in my speakership speech, bringing in training sessions to help senators best prepare for how they are going to carry out outreach events, and looking for new ways to spread senator influence around campus and get more people aware and interested in student government. I think that my plans involving first year experience would be a natural fit for the parliamentarian to work on carrying out, as the intention and possibly the method is the same as outreach events. So if you elect me, you'll have someone ready and able to carry out a change and expansion of outreach events, someone with great experience in the standing rules, and someone extremely willing and eager to get to work serving and improving both the Senate and the community of UW-Whitewater. Thank you.
Wonderful. With that, we will move on to questions. Who's got a question? Coming down.
No, just out of curiosity, if you were told to a box, what would you?
Okay. Two.
Well, I learned recently that some of the common advice is to never choose a hammer, which is greatly disturbing because I would in fact choose to be a hammer because I hammer away at issues until they are solved.
All about the content.
Yeah, if I had to choose a tool in the toolbox, I would say that I would be a level. I'm someone that people don't necessarily think they need until they have a picture up on the wall that's, hanging like this. Yeah, I think that would probably describe me best. I'm one person, I enjoy change. I enjoy accuracy, that sort of thing with that. So overall, I think I'd be a level. So I'm something that someone necessarily doesn't think of. That's that one.
Questions we got?
What it would be one, this is two parts, what would be one difference from the previous office, or one thing you'd like to change, and any issue, was there any one issue that you've seen with how the parliamentarian was before, and one thing you'd like to improve for the future?
Yeah.
So I would definitely say creating a bond between the senators and making sure that they all understand their importance in Whitewater student government would be one of my first missions, along with, I don't know exactly what it would look like, but some sort of mentor-mentee situation for newer senators, so they don't necessarily feel as tossed into the deep end. And then with committees, I would hopefully like to kind of help make the committees more even for students, so we don't have all of our at-large senators on the same, dining committee or something like that. Just making sure the senators are very spread out and working with things that they're passionate about as well. Because I feel passion drives success.
I think one of the sometimes overlooked duties of the parliamentarian is providing knowledge to members about the standing rules. Usually this role is mostly expressed in providing advice to the speaker during meetings generally. But really, I think a greater emphasis should be put on making sure that all senators have a comprehensive understanding of the standing rules, because really people underestimate, but having a good understanding of the standing rules makes it so much easier to get done what you want to get done. It's having a strong understanding of the system and how it works is vital to getting what you want accomplished. Besides that, the Constitutional Revision Committee's work is often very slow. We usually only get through one section a semester. So as parliamentarian, I would try to put a greater emphasis on getting through the standing rules revisions more quickly, so it didn't take up quite so much of our members' time, and that we could really finally eliminate all the different little issues and inconsistencies that are present.
Senator Carter.
How has your previous or current leadership experience prepare you to take this role that you are trying to run for?
I think my most recent leadership role in student government was Deputy Speaker and also Vice Chair of the Constitutional Revision Committee, and I don't think there are really two roles in student government which could better prepare you for taking on the role of parliamentarian, because both of them the Deputy Speaker has something to do with outreach events, as you can do outreach like events like tabling for your office hour, and obviously Vice Chair of the Constitutional Revision Committee has a lot to do with these standing rules, as does the Deputy Speakership. So really, I think my previous roles have given me the exact qualities which are needed for the parliamentarian.
Any other questions?
May is
Senator Weston has a chance to answer. I'm sorry, Host Twist.
Okay. I would definitely say my external roles have definitely prepared me to lead into this position. I've worked a lot around campus about learning different factors around campus and kind of what students need. I would love to help guide this Senate a little bit on that by ensuring that our senators are aware of what they can be doing for outreach events and where they are going to feel most heard and most helpful. Although I don't have a ton of experience with the parliamentary procedure, I feel that I am capable of learning, and with learning, I feel that I can comb through and make sure I know the exact facts for this today.
Questions? Houston?
So similar to a different question I asked you and Isaiah, but you've already mentioned a lot about how you plan on collaborating with the senators. How do you plan as parliamentarian collaborating with the E-Board?
Sorry, you said with the order?
Yeah, how do you plan on collaborating with the E-Board?
Sorry, I thought you said a word. My bad. So with E-Board, I would want to make sure that I'm checking in with them, making sure that senators are actually going to their committee meetings and actively participating. I feel that that's something that senators sometimes take for granted. Those committee meetings can really be a successful way to drive change, so just making sure that's
The committee member I would most likely interact, or the e-board member I would most likely interact the most with would be our Director of Public Relations, as outreach, I think, plays and can play an even more vital role in connecting and communicating the Senate and this org's goals and accomplishments to students around campus. So I would work a great deal with them, coordinating efforts, making sure how those can be most successful. And then the parliamentarian is a resource for all members of the org, so I would ensure that I would be available to every member of the e-board if they had any questions about parliamentary procedures or the standing rules. And of course, as I said, I would prioritize the parliamentarians' relationship with the Constitutional Revision Committee and fixing those changes. The e-board almost certainly has concerns about the standing rules that are things they would like to see changed and improved. So I would work on figuring out what those are and how we can best make changes to accommodate them and make their work easier.
Any other questions? That you speak the truth.
What's been your favorite member or favorite moment of being in WSG?
As I mentioned in the last time I was up here, I really love the meetings. I mean, before and after, you have the chance to talk to not only all the members of the org. As I said, this is the only time that, besides the banquet, when we're all definitely going to be together, you also get to meet the members of the gallery, people who care enough to come out and attend when our meeting, might come up and run for a seat. And it's always great getting to know people when they're first coming into the org and seeing what you can do to help them along. And then, I mean, like I said, it might be nerdy, but I am just a really big fan of parliamentary procedure. And I really enjoy participating in it and watching it in action.
Yeah, so I would probably say my favorite memory in WSG as a whole was the night that I ran. I knew barely anyone in this room. I knew some people, I knew some familiar faces, but it was very different for me, and it was something that I never really seen myself doing. And I think the connections I made, like, it all really stems back to that day. So I think that's probably still my favorite memory.
Other questions? If not, I have one last. Oh, yeah. One once? One twice? Okay. What is Article 1 of the Constitution? What order?
I believe Article 1 of the Constitution establishes legislative powers.
Are you done?
I am.
I believe it just goes over how the general legislation is laid out throughout, or the articles are laid out.
Wonderful. With that, we'll move to a secret ballot vote. It will operate the same way the last secret ballot have operated. Madam Clerk, if you could pass out those sheets of paper.
Point of information.
Yes?
What is Article 1 of the Constitution?
Oh, so glad you asked. It establishes the student senate. So, I mean, it lays out some legislative authority. You can write down Rosequist, we're done, or Irwin, but not both. That makes sense? One minute. Or abstain, but you shouldn't do.
I would have asked you 10 minutes ago. Would you have done it?
What's Article 2?
That's legislative. Somebody took my binder, I didn't come prepared.
Baby steps here.
How y'all doing?
The quorum deputy speaker.
It's okay, Senator, I apologize.
All right. In a vote of 5-3 with one abstention, it is my honor to welcome you all to the newest parliamentarian of the Whitewater Student Government, Blake Irwin. You have been elected by the Senate of Whitewater Student Government to serve as the parliamentarian. Understanding that you have been chosen to perform such an active and important role, do you accept the position of parliamentarian and all the responsibilities, duties, and privileges that it will include? If so, say, "I will to the best of my ability."
I will to the best of my ability.
Repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear
I, Blake Irwin, do solemnly swear
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to be knowledgeable of
to be knowledgeable of,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
the WSG standing rules,
the WSG standing rules,
and university policy
and university policy
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. It is my honor to present to you the newest parliamentarian of the Whitewater Student Government, Blake Irwin.
I need my binder. Of course. I gotta review my speech. Good, frankly, it's a good page.
All right. Wonderful. Blake, you're welcome to join us at your earliest convenience. With that, we'll move into the appointment of 3 ESCR district seats. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for an ESCR district seat? If so, please rise now. Wonderful. If you could, please make sure the vice president has your name and the correct spelling. You can join us up here at the podium.
Are we looking? Good, are you?
Yep.
Good for me.
Good for me.
All right.
I-I-T-A-N-E.
Good name, is it good?
Yep.
No, perfect.
Good?
Yeah.
Struggling with Excel.
Come on, get on
All right. Come on, folks. Name spelled correctly? All right, wonderful. We're getting pretty good at this point. We're going to give you all 3 minutes to tell us why you want to be the next senator of the Whitewater Student Government. Then we'll move into questions of which you will do poll. All right? We'll go from right to left. All right, sounds good.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gavin Kelleher. I was a senator on the Senate last semester, and it's probably one of the most gratifying things I've done since coming to UW-Whitewater, period. I'm a freshman and a legal studies major, and similarly to Isaiah, I hope to do something like this for the rest of my life. I really do believe in change, no matter at what level. At a young age, I remember whether I was going to tennis practice, going to school, no matter where I was going, my mom would always ask me, what is your purpose? What is the purpose in doing this? You're going to tennis, but you shouldn't just be going to play tennis to get better for yourself. Why are you going? And then I found, okay, I'm going to tennis to encourage my teammates around me and build a culture and a club that makes people happy. I'm going to school to push people around me harder, to make my friends laugh at the very little, or meet new people, or make my voice heard. And the UW Whitewater Student Government, is the best spot, I think, to do that. It's the best spot to create change. And I saw that last semester. I got close with some senators, some directors, some of the leadership team, and seeing that everybody here really does care about what they do, and I would love to continue to be a part of that this semester. The Senate is it's very cool to me, it's very important, and it is where change starts, and I want to continue to be a part of that, and I think that it takes passion, like we heard earlier, and I think passion is something that I do bring. Passion is something that I bring every day in my life, and I hope to be able to bring it to the Whitewater Student Government to best help students. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Heath Houston, and I was part of Senate last semester. I first walked up onto the stage, I was last spring of 2024, and I was, a bit nervous, a bit awkward. I didn't fully know about Whitewater students, and, being here, sitting here, it was a bit nerve-wracking at first. I'm not gonna lie, but last semester was really interesting because it started off, still being a bit, faking my confidence, trying to learn, things like how things actually operate around here. But I feel like it is a long journey, but in the end, I've decided that I really want to be here until I graduate. This is, we've got something great going on right here. It was, not only very rewarding, I honestly being able to represent students, just being, here in general, being able to make change, having students come up to me and, be able to give me their concerns, things they want to change, and also just the involvement opportunities. It was just so many things you could do to make campus better, and that is exactly what I want to do. I love, I love being involved, I love helping other people, and I love listening to the students I represent. So yeah, I'll keep it brief. I'm really looking forward to this semester, and I definitely want to be here and just, continue making good change.
Good evening, my name is Emily Wietinen. I'm currently a marketing major here on campus with an emphasis of sales and sports marketing. This is, fun fact, I believe my 5th time running for Senate. I ran twice in the beginning of my freshman year and became elected the 2nd time I ran. And no matter what, I was determined as many times as it took to keep trying because I knew this is a place I wanted to be. And then I stayed on and was re-elected for that spring semester. I actually ran for deputy speaker and parliamentarian that year. And then this past fall semester, I decided to take a little break just to refocus myself and center myself on my education a little bit. And after a few little fixes in the schedule, I was able to make some room for WSG this semester. And I really loved the opportunity to come back. During my time, I wrote several bills, some being recognizing students and orgs on campus, as well as an emeritus bill. And I've really just enjoyed my time learning Robert's Rules of Order and parliamentary procedure, which is very new to me. It's never something I ever thought I'd see myself doing until I tried it. And that's what I would encourage students to do when they join WSG. So I'm just grateful for this opportunity and hope I get another chance. Thank you.
Wonderful. And with that, we will move into 4 questions. We got a question. Yeah.
What is, to keep it simple, what is the biggest major change you'd like to see on campus? Like, what is one issue you presently see on campus, and what is one change that you'd like to see?
There are actually, I'm not going to go too long, but there are a few things I definitely want to change and work towards this semester. The first one being, I think Blake and Isaiah already mentioned this, but our awareness. I feel that there are a lot of opportunities that we can advertise WSG, advertise ways students can actually make change. For example, like putting up posters, with QR codes with suggestions for a change. And also, another thing I want to change is just spread more awareness of the identity-based organizations. a lot of people come onto campus just kind of, like not sure who they are, not finding people that can actually support them and vouch for them and actually represent them. So I feel that we could work with identity-based organizations to raise awareness, get more students to join, and make them feel more secure. And lastly, I really love the changes that were made to the dining last semester. There were, I was on board from the get-go, but it took, students a bit of time to actually, adjust the changes. I think maybe somewhat concern that a lot of students have is that some on-campus restaurants have actually downgraded in terms of the meal equivalency. For example, they do not get as much food items with their meal swipe due to the meal equivalency. So I think that is something we could work on and make change.
Going off of Mr. Houston, I think one big passion that I found last semester was that I want to find a way to get students more involved in organizations, in clubs. I think for me, as a freshman in my first semester last year, student organizations were huge for me. Whether it was the Lawn Society Club, whether it was WSG, or a couple other clubs that I maybe went to a few meetings, it was huge to meet people, but then also feel involved on campus. I want to make sure that we help students understand how many orgs there are, over 100, I think almost 200. How they can get involved, and not only how they can, but push them to get involved. I think unfortunately there's a lot of students that end up sitting in their dorm every night after they go to class because they don't have things to do and they don't feel a part of the campus. And a lot of times those students drop because they don't feel connected and they don't feel happy here. I think the WSG kind of has part of the responsibility to connect these students to something that will make them feel at home, something that will make them happy. And so that's, off the top of my head, the one thing that I would really like to work.
I think what they both said are definitely things that are important. I think for me, it's something I don't even really necessarily know off the spot how to handle, just because I think it deserves a lot of time and attention to, but notifying especially the freshmen of the burnout and the structure of their semester and notifying them about where burnout might aspire from and how to conquer it and move around it. I actually struggled with that a lot my spring semester of my freshman year, which was last spring, and I already see a change, and I think it was how I used my break, but just notifying, especially those freshmen, about how midterms work and maybe if that's a revamp or a revisit to the structure of new student seminar, notifying freshmen about how things work and the structure of school. I think it's really important. I know that my experience wasn't like my peers, but my experience in my new student seminar wasn't to the best, I believe, of its abilities. So maybe revisiting that. But again, like I said, finding more time to really think about the issue, but I definitely think there is an issue between burnout, especially with those freshmen. So definitely focusing on that.
Questions? Going once? Going twice? I really like this new, Associate Director.
So Whitewater was rated #1 in student experience by the Wall Street Journal. What would you guys aim to maintain that?
I'll start. I think first of all, that's awesome. So let's just give some snaps for Whitewater in general. That's awesome. I think that to maintain that, we have to look at the reasons why it got rated so high, why are students having such a great experience here, what did past organizations do and are doing. I think connecting to the faculty, which the directors do, and bringing that to the Senate to see, obviously we must have some pretty cool faculty here at the moment if Whitewater's doing so well. So continuing to build those relationships and keep them, I think, is very important. But I also think continuing to keep our foot on the gas. Kind of like they say if it's a basketball game. You're up 20 points, the next thing you know it's gone. Next year we can be rated. So I think not being satisfied with that rating and saying, yeah, it's #1, but let's get even better. Let's make the gap even wider. Let's make this place even more awesome. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, Mr. Keller said pretty well. We can never take our foot off the gas. It would be, it'd be foolish to say, oh, we're fine just where we are. We're not going to do anything to improve it. Even though we're ranked number one, we gotta keep spreading awareness of different organizations, different opportunities for students to get better involved, to make more friends, and to just overall improve, student happiness and the student experience. So just keep, doing what we're already doing, and also learning from, past mistakes and also past successes in maintaining our status as a great school for students.
I think all the points previously mentioned are exactly what I would say. So just to add or maybe specify what we're doing well, and I think we should continue doing well, if not uphold the standard a little bit, is all of our UC Live events and activities for the students, like we just said, the poker night and then there's all the movies and activities. So just keeping up with those things. I think they're really great opportunities. We always get a big turnout. I think there's a little bit of like a stigma, like, oh, only freshmen go to it. Oh, it's just a lame event, but it's not. I think maybe trying to find a way around that stigma. But otherwise, just keep up what we're doing. The events are a great way to get those students involved, and I think it's something a lot of people look forward to. So.
Any other questions? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none. Alrighty, wonderful. With that, we're going to do, given we have seen a new development in open meeting laws, we've found a new development of sorts, we are going to run all Senate appointments thus far as roll call votes in accordance with open meeting laws. So the way that'll work in this instance is Madam Clerk will call the roll. You have the opportunity to say nay, as in no one name, as in one of the names presented to you, two names, as in two of the names presented to you, or all three names presented to you, as there are currently 3 ESCR district seats open. Does that make sense to everybody? You all got it?
Do we just say aye if we want all?
Yeah, you can say aye for all 3 as well. I don't know why I mentioned it. You can also say aye if you want all 3. Make sense? Going once, going twice? President?
Can I get a reminder on names, please? Who's who?
Yeah, if we could all just state our name one last time.
Gavin Kelleher.
I am Heath Houston.
Emily Wheatman.
All right, and with that, Madam Clerk, when ready, would you please call the roll?
Senator Fryer,
Aye.
Senator Irwin,
Aye.
Senator Estrohol,
Aye.
Senator Michael.
Aye.
Senator Miller.
Aye.
Senator Rodriguez.
Aye.
Senator Rosquist.
Aye.
Senator Schmidt.
Aye.
Speaker Wilson.
Aye. And with that, a unanimous vote, Senator Houston, Senator Kelleher, and Senator Wheatman have been unanimously elected. Whitewater School Government. Glad you reelected. If all 3 of you could come see us after the meeting, we'd like to chat with you about I think all 3 of you have been senators for all the normal things. All right, and with that, we will move into the appointment of 3 Drumlin District senators. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for a Drumlin District seat? If so, please rise up. 1. If you could both make your way to the podium, and while doing so, ensure that the Vice President has spelled your first and last, if you could, names correctly. That would be wonderful. Yes. Yeah, so, names spelled correctly? All right, just like the last hour. Each of you, just for your list, tell us a little bit about why you want to be the next senator. What should go? Everyone be nice to go first.
Hi everyone. So my name is Olivia Gross. For everyone who was here last semester, I was senator for 1 day, which was pretty cool. So I would like to be senator for more than 1 day this time, which would be great.
The reason I would like to be senator is I believe student government is a megaphone for their students and for our peers. And there's a lot of changes that could be made on campus that either we know of or even we don't know of. And it's good to have students from different areas come together in one space and talk about those issues. So as a senator, I will listen to all my peers and figure out some issues that I think would be important, and also talk about issues that might not necessarily affect me, but are definitely affecting several of my peers. Into that wheel.
Alright. Hello, I'm Jordan Purnell. I feel a little out of place. This is my first time running. So very excited. But I am a third-year student going for political science and education. I have been here at Whitewater for 2 years. Prior to this, I was at Parkside. I have experience in other orgs in leadership positions. I was the treasurer for the Whitewater College Democrats and the director of diversity, equity, and inclusion for the College Democrats of Wisconsin. That being said, I am looking to change what I'm doing here a little. Join the Senate because I want to be able to make a change within this university. I want to be able to, just like as we've heard mentioned here time and time again, listen to the students we represent and improve our school in any way that we can. And to that, I yield.
Wonderful. With that, we'll move into 4 questions. Anybody have a Deputy Speaker Retreats? What's your leadership style?
Sure. My leadership style. I would have to say that I like to lead by taking everyone's opinions and thoughts into consideration. I highly value the input of others, and I like to use that input to improve not only myself, but the work that I do.
Kind of bounce off of that, I would say my leadership style is about kindness and compassion. I believe that everyone has great ideas and deserves to be heard about those ideas deserve to be heard. And so my leadership style is to listen to everyone and not so much as like I'm leading, but I feel like everyone is a leader in their own right. And so everyone in a group deserves to be a leader at some point.
Any other questions? And Park?
If time, money, and labor wasn't a thing, what would you change on this university?
One thing I would love to change, I mentioned this last time, was I would love to have a Go Green for Menstrual Health campaign / cabinet on this university. So that would provide free environmental friendly menstrual products, whether that's a menstrual cup or cotton tampons, and I would love that to be offered to every single student. It was offered at UW Oshkosh, and I would love to bring that here. Ooh, it's okay. I would love to bring that here on UW Whitewater's campus.
If money was not a problem, I think my first issue I would want to tackle would be the accessibility on campus. We are one of the most accessible campuses in the country, but despite this, we see shortfallings with things like doors and outdated buildings. So I would use that money to fully update and make all of our amenities accessible to everyone.
Any other questions? Go once. Go twice. Seeing none. Great, wonderful. With that, we will move into a roll call vote, operating the same way it did last time. As we have 3 seats open, you can say one name, you can say both names, or you can say aye as both names, or you can say nay as neither names. We get a re-saying of both names.
I'm Olivia Gross.
I'm Jordan Brown.
With that, Madam Clerk, would you call a roll?
Senator Carter,
Aye.
Senator Irwin,
Aye.
Senator Esserle,
Aye.
Senator Michael.
Aye.
Senator Miller.
Aye.
Senator Trudis.
Aye.
Senator Rosquist.
Aye.
Senator Schmidt.
Aye.
Speaker Wilson.
Aye. And with that, it is my honor to welcome you to the 2 newest unanimously voted senators of Whitewater. All right, wonderful. And with that, we will move into the appointment of 6 off-campus district seats. Is there anyone interested in running for an off-campus district seat tonight? Wonderful. If you could, please come up to the podium. State your name for the vice president. Make sure it's spelled correctly up on the board. All right, wonderful. You'll have 3 minutes to tell us a little bit about why you want to be an under the Whitewater student government. Take it whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody here for giving me the chance to speak here, especially Senator Logan for personally inviting me earlier today. So, a little bit about me. My name is Ben Punzel. I'm from Port Atkinson, Wisconsin, so 15 minutes away. This is my 2nd week on campus so far. Loving it. I'm a freshman, majoring in criminology, minor in psychology. I just came off of active duty in the military, served 8 years in the Army. Why I want to be part of the Senate. As part of the Senate, it is our duty to be the voice of the population of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. With that, I intend to take that role very seriously. After all, we are essentially the microphone of the people for the organization. And I also enjoy helping people. After all, in our society, people help each other, as they should. With that, introductions are complete, Mr. Speaker.
Wonderful. With that, we will move into questions. More questions? Do we have any questions? From the guy.
You're a tool in the toolbox. What do you mean?
Really interesting question. So, in this regard, I actually wouldn't be a tool. Instead, I'd be the handyman, the mechanic, the carpenter, masonry specialist. Because inherently, a tool has no purpose outside of what the user deems it to be. If you want to use a ratchet like a hammer, you can, but that's not its intended purpose. As leaders, we all have tools in our metaphorical toolbox we can use. It is us as leaders to determine which tool is the best to use in that instance.
Wonderful. Any other questions? Director Ballester.
What leadership roles did you hold in the military?
I was a squad leader, senior mechanic, motor sergeant. I held a role as a public affairs office, non-commissioned officer in charge. I ran the shop by myself, serving in for those of you that don't know military ranks, I was serving in a Sergeant First Class billet as a specialist at the time, serving 3 ranks above my current pay grade at that moment.
Thank you very much for your service. Thank you for support. Any other questions? Going once? Twice? Seeing none, with that, we will move into a roll call vote. Here we can do aye and nay, or you can say the name. So, Madam Clerk, when ready? Yeah.
Senator Irwin,
Aye.
Senator Esserle,
Aye.
Senator Michael,
Aye.
Senator Miller,
Aye.
Senator Tricus.
Aye.
Senator Rosas. Aye. Senator Schmidt.
Aye.
Speaker Wilson.
Aye.
Senator Carter.
Aye.
Wonderful. And with that, these funds have been unanimously voted for the Whitewater student government. And congratulations on probably the best answer I've ever heard in school.
Yes.
All right, and with that, we will move to the appointment of 2 Rock County District seats. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for a Rock County District seat? Go boys. Go boys. Seeing none, wonderful. With that, we'll move to the appointment of 4 at-large district seats. Is there anyone in the gallery interested in running for an at-large district? Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. If you could, please come to the front, make sure the Vice President has spelled your last name correctly on the board. Happy to for you.
Yes.
Excellent. Good luck. All right, wonderful. Keep it to the Senate. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and what you're doing. About 3 minutes.
All right, my name is Ben Calvin. I am a student. I'm currently of junior standing. I transferred here from a technical college. This was my 2nd semester being here. I'm currently a public policy and administration major. Other positions I have, I'm currently in the process, well, this is the first thing, I've created a club with some members of the Political Science Student Association, and I am the inaugural president. Aside from that, the reason why I want to be on student senate is I've always had an interest in the affairs. Because in a way, a lot of times these institutions are like a statue or a machine that is continually worked on. And you have to continue to update it. If you don't leave it, it'll rust away and decay. And this is the maintenance. It is a fundamental part of how we work. It's not the glorious stuff. This is you're getting under it. You're going to get oil over you. You're going to get whatever the fluids and gears and all the joys of messes and, getting hit by errant machinery. But that's the joy of life. That's the joy of this institution. We can build this college that has been, as was stated, a positive experience, and continue to build on it. We won't rest on our laurels. We can build this college into something that people can be proud of. One of the things I'd like to see is that when people said I went to Whitewater, I went to Whitewater, and have it be a point of pride for this institution, something that we can go. But one of the biggest things, and that's one of the biggest things I'd like to see. It seems like some people are somewhat, how to put this? There's a point of, I want people to have enthusiasm and pride in where we are, and also to make sure we can continue to keep our experience the best as it is. I don't know if I have any more to say.
Thank you very much. With that, we will move into questions, of which we'll take 4. Are there any questions? Mr. Calvin. Senator Schmidt.
How do you think your years working in retail will help you prepare you for this position?
Yes. Schmidt knows how my years working in retail will help me with this position. Well, I've had to, with working in retail, you have to deal with a lot of people. And the biggest part is you have to be able to, no matter what someone is saying, even when they are yelling at you and saying very choice words that I dare not to repeat in this hallowed institution, you have to make sure you can understand what they want and respond in a respectable manner. You always have to be professional. You have to have your way. You always have to keep your cool and decorum and be able to serve anyone. I think that will apply greatly here, especially when meeting out things, going out there, getting used to talking at people and having mostly no one care. But you have to keep doing it anyhow, because that's the joy of it. You go out there, because there is a small off chance that someone will care, and you will hear something important, and you will be the person who's able to make a change that no one else was able to hear. All because you sat out there and were ignored by 90 other people.
Any other questions, Senator Carter?
How has your current role as president of the Poli-Sci Student Association helped you prepare for this role?
I think that's a good question. The club is currently starting up, so a lot of it's helped me work with some of the bureaucracy, trying to get things going. Look at how to motivate people, how to communicate. I've had to try to communicate with professors, trying to build, get events, work with lead times, trying to know who's working with who, keep timetables on certain events, and just make sure the ship of the club, or in this case, the student government, make sure it keeps running and make sure everyone does their part so that we can keep sailing and not hit any errant wrongs.
Any other questions? Your Associate Director, Zeta.
What are some issues that you might have identified on campus?
I know this was brought up by one of the other senators, so I don't mean to steal their thunder, but I do think a point. Like one thing I noticed when I resided in the halls, and I know one of the restaurants was not open during the portion of the semester. I think it was the Herberts and Gerberts. I know that hasn't been now, but I think also to be more responsive so people can know what's going on. I know thinking as a student, I was like, why is that? I know, because I know there was some other worries too about how the contract, making sure that the standards that we keep to are maintained, especially as contracts go on, and however we can do that to make sure we keep adequate oversight.
Wonderful. One last question. Going once, going twice, seeing none. Wonderful. With that, we'll move to a roll call vote. You can vote for Cal. You can say aye. You can say nay. I'll vote for Calvin's vote in favor. All right, Madam Clerk. You ready? Please call the roll.
Senator Esposito.
Aye.
Senator Michael.
Aye.
Senator Miller.
Aye.
Senator Petrikis.
Aye.
Senator Rosquist.
Aye.
Senator Schmidt.
Aye.
Speaker Wilson.
Aye.
Senator Carter.
Aye.
Senator Irwin.
Aye. And with that, congratulations, Mr. Calvin, as you've been elected unanimously. Welcome. Oh, folks, great job. You made it through. Everyone showed some wonderful characters that went through and talked in front of everyone, so thanks so much for hanging in there. With that, we'll move on to guest speakers, of which we have none. With that, we'll move to approval of the agenda and minutes, which we should start with the minutes from December 2nd, 2024. Can I get a motion approved? Senator Carter,
Motion
second.
approved.
Second by Senator Rhodes. With the asking for unanimous consent. Any objection? Approval. Wonderful. With that, the minutes from December 2nd, 2024 have been approved unanimously. Oh, I need a voice vote. Oh my.
Acclamation.
Acclamation? Wonderful. So we have minutes from December 2nd, 2024 have been approved. Can we move on to the agenda for February 3rd, 2025? Can I get a motion to approve? Deputy Speaker Tree.
Move to approve.
Second by Senator Carter. Wonderful. Can I get a voice vote?
Acclamation.
Wonderful. And with that, the agenda on February 3rd, 2025 has been approved unanimously. With that, we'll move into student issues and concerns. Are there any student issues and concerns in the gallery of which you'll have 3 minutes to tell us a little bit about what you want to change on campus? Anyone interested? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none. Wonderful. With that, we'll move into reports, starting with external committee reports, of which we have none, on to internal committee reports, of which we have none, and then on to officer reports, starting with the presidential address from Mr. Douglas Allen Bradley III.
Good evening, everyone. I'll say, acting as speaker was quite enjoyable. It's been a while since I've gotten to really have free reign on the Senate floor. I've never been a senator since freshman year. So,
you ever want to come back?
I'll let you know. Just go up a little bit. Oh.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. So I want to start, start by addressing you as I did last semester. One might call it a tradition of sorts. But today I stand before you and I'm filled with a profound sense of gratitude and an invigorated sense of purpose. As we gather to usher in the dawn of another promising spring semester here at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. I hope that each of you found time during the break to rest, to reflect, and to rekindle the passions that fuel your ambitions. Time to reconnect with what inspires you, and to prepare for the journey that lies ahead. This is not just the start of a new semester, but rather the continuation of a story we are writing together, page by page, moment by moment. As your student body president, I am deeply honored and humbled to work alongside such an extraordinary assembly of student leaders. You are not just representatives, but rather you are the heartbeat of our university, the stewards of voices that span every corner of our campus. Together, we carry both a profound responsibility and an unparalleled privilege to advocate for the needs of our peers, to elevate their hopes and concerns, and to cultivate an environment where every Warhawk feels seen, heard, valued, and empowered. Within the walls of this Senate, you hold the transformative power to shape experiences, influence policies, and to set into motion ideas that could change the lives of thousands of students, and if not today, but for generations to come. Yet leadership is more than titles and responsibilities. Governance is more than motions and votes and acclamations. At its core, leadership is about collaboration, about the relentless pursuit of progress through partnership. The true strength of this Senate does not lie in any single voice, no matter how eloquent or impassioned, but in the symphony of diverse perspectives that come together in pursuit of a common purpose. Our greatest achievements will not be measured by unanimous agreement, but by the courage to engage in meaningful dialogue, to challenge one another with respect, and to find unity not in spite of our differences, but because of them. As we embark on this new chapter, I call upon each of you to rise with renewed vigor. Bring your passion to every discussion, your boldest ideas to every meeting, and your unwavering commitment to every decision we make. Do not underestimate the power of your voice, the ripple effect of your actions, or the legacy you are helping to build. We are not merely managing the present, we are the architects of the future, laying the foundation for students who will walk these halls long after we're gone. And let us lead with courage, let us serve with integrity, and let us remember, always, that our mission is larger than any one of us. It is the collective spirit of the Warhawk community soaring ever higher. Together, there's no limit to what we can achieve. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Bradley. And before we move into questions, I'd like to announce Director Emeritus, Jordan Robinson.
Point of information.
Yes.
What is emeritus?
Emeritus is a status that we grant certain highly esteemed members of our body for recognized work. One of the privileges of being an emeritus member comes with occasionally when you walk into a meeting, everybody embarrasses you by clapping very loudly. So thank you so much for all the work you did. With that, we'll move on to questions. Anybody have any questions for President Bradley today? Once, twice. Seeing none, with that, we'll move on to Vice President Parker Big.
Alright, that one's a little hard to follow up. But I hope everybody had an excellent winter break. For me, I had very restful and restorative break. And I was working on a legislation wall with now Deputy Tricus, Speaker Wilson, a couple of our executives up here on the board. Last week, I met with Directors Kahn, Balistreri, and Lindemann. For this week, I'll be collaborating with Director Smith, Director Reiser. We'll be meeting with our new clerk and advisor, Bilgin. In addition to that, I'm looking to connect with now new parliamentarian Irwin. And if you need new placards or an updated one, please come see me after the meeting and we'll get you in one. And with that, I do.
No. Any questions for the Vice President? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, with that, we'll move on to the report of our advisor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jan Bilgin. I'm the Director of Student Activities and Involvement, and I have the pleasure and privilege of advising Whitewater student government. So for those of you who are new, just know that my door is open. I work downstairs at a computer lab. You're welcome to put yourself on my calendar, on my Outlook calendar, or you can use Navigate to set up time with me or catch me before or after meetings. So welcome to all y'all who are going to go get your signatures so you can be sworn in next week. You'll learn about that after the meeting. Couple quick things. Please grab a UC spring lineup so you know what's going on in the University Center. Lots of different aspects of the University Center. Sorry to do a shameless plug. Also, I would like to just bring to your attention part of, I think, being an exceptional representative of the student opinion is to be out and about, not only just in class or passing or at meal times, but also going to some events, so I'll always try to offer some of those to you. The first one would be the Martin Luther King Celebration Program, which is tomorrow at 3:30. A great speaker talking about liberation. So come and check that out. Every opinion is welcome. 3:30 Hamilton Room. And then also the involvement fair is on Wednesday from 11 to 2 in the Hamilton Room. And I would encourage y'all to reverse table as student government, right? You don't have to just have a table. You can go from table to table and introduce yourself and let people know you're there to help them have a better experience at Whitewater. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I will yield to, thanks, yield to questions.
Any questions for our advisor today?
You're the best.
Thank once, twice. Deputy Speaker Patrice.
Forgive me if you did say this. Where is the involvement fair?
In the Hamilton Room. And kind of in the concourse in the Cerniak Lounge, which is the place with the tall tables.
I didn't know it was called that.
It's the Cerniak Lounge, yes, named after a person that gave us money for the university.
Wonderful. And with that, we'll move on to e-board report. Any other questions? I'm sorry, going once, going twice. Vice President Bain?
To bounce off the involvement fair, we're also looking for some people that can table for maybe an hour, 30 minutes, whatever free time you have. So if that's something that would interest you, please come see me after as well.
Wonderful. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, with that, we'll move on to e-board report, starting with the report of Ms. Abby Reiser, our Director of Academic Affairs.
Hi everyone, I hope you all had a great break and are excited to be back. So over break, I had some advising strategic action plan meetings and some of the things that we discussed. The advising survey closed January 20th, and that was what half of the student body got sent, and the other half is getting theirs sent on April 21st, I believe. So we're going to be going through that data, so I can keep you all updated on that. The revised major change form is live. So again, that's the form that if you're going to change your major, it's been updated, so it has better language for students to understand. We are having discussions about centralizing information so that key events and details are easily accessible for students on the website. And then we're also working on 4-year plan templates for the catalog so that those are all updated with the degrees and the requirements for that. I had some STELIC meetings. We had a student messaging meeting and a demonstration one. And so for STELIC, for those of you that don't know, that is going to be the new degree auditing program that is going to be implemented for next fall of 2025. Some updates with that, there is a pilot group, and that's going to be accounting majors in elementary education, and they are going to use it to register for this spring. So they should be getting communication within the first couple weeks here of this semester. Everyone else who is not one of those majors is going to still be using WINS. And the reason we are doing a pilot group is to ensure that the launch of STELIC next fall is seamless. We are looking at other institutions that have implemented it, and Stout did provide some feedback to students about 3 weeks before they launched it to the entire campus. And it was not super well received because they did not provide a ton of guidance. And so we are like way ahead of that so that we can prevent that from happening. I also met with Josh Reed, who's the Director of Career Services, and then over break I was doing some more research and coming up with some more ideas to advance career services things. And then I also began early planning for the WSG Instructor Awards, which is an annual event that will be later this spring. So I will keep you all updated on that as well. This week, I have meetings with some of the deans, Dean Jenke, Dean Ambrose, and Dean Dugan, and then also will be meeting with Josh again. And then with that, I yield to any questions.
Any questions for Director Reiser? Patrice?
Is there a date for the instructor awards yet, or even like a estimated time?
Yeah, so I don't have an exact date, but I do have 2 dates in mind. It's going to be on a Wednesday. That's tentative, but it'll be in April. Once that is part of my goal for this week is to figure that out. So next week I should have the date, but it'll be either the last week of April or the week before that.
Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, with that, we'll move to the report of Mr. Joe Ballester, the Director of Student Affairs.
Hello, y'all. Welcome back to school. Happy to see you again. Hopefully your first week of classes was off to a good start. So last week, I met with Vice President Boehm and President Bradley to discuss the vision for my role for this semester. I also met with Director Khan here to brainstorm some ideas for this semester as well. Next week, I'm going to be working with previously known as Senator West, now Clerk West, which congratulations on your promotion, with UHCS to brainstorm ways to produce more attendance and to create a positive impact for students with their outreach events. I'm also going to be meeting with Advisor Billigan to reconnect after break. We'll be meeting with Director Khan again to set up for more future meetings this semester and to discuss our shared vision. I'm also going to be meeting with Chief Kinderlin to rehash our last conversations from last semester. Right now we're working on creating a deferment program for students who deal with the city police as well, not just the university police. So with that, best of luck with your second week, and I yield.
Any questions for Director Balestri?
Did your meeting with Associate Director Khan to brainstorm some steps, did that yield any positive results or and then any you can share with us?
We're still elaborating, nothing to share.
I can actually answer that one. Can I pick that up?
No, yeah, he gave me some steps to how to work the housing involvement fair, and we worked through those steps and who I should email and who I should reach out to.
I have a question. So I know we were gone for 6 weeks, so if you don't have an answer, that's fine. But I guess during break, at some point, the crossing of Stern Road, there were some new safety measures. Have you heard anything about reception from you or standard safety measures? Or, and I'll also, anyone who may know, but I figured I'd ask you. If you haven't heard any feedback, that's all right.
I apologize, you speaking with Khan or?
Director.
Okay.
Student affairs is a part of it, and anyone who knows that.
Yeah, I believe they set up they changed the speed limit to 15 miles an hour now. They also added some more signage and some stop signs as well in the intersections.
Yeah, I think your question was, how do people on campus perceive it? I haven't heard anything negative from students. I don't know how the community feels. I've heard some negative comments from community members, but.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, Deputy Chief?
If I have feedback about that, who should I forward it to?
Your common council rep of the city of Whitewater, because that was the directive of that street, just so everyone knows, Staron Road is owned, that's not the right word, sorry, I'm struggling with my words tonight, by the city. And so our common council was working with the city of Whitewater on a different proposal that they didn't feel quite met the needs. So they're trying this as an intermediary step, I believe. I'm trying to be very fair and equitable, but you would need to reach out to your common council rep and understand that there's one for where you live, and there are at-large folks just like we have that you would want to contact them as well.
And we do have one in the room. Councilman Moore-Smith.
You can always email citycouncil@whitewater-wi.gov. That'll email every council person, so you don't have to find who yours is. I recommend knowing who yours is, but if you don't feel like knowing that, that's the best way to know that. Always happy to answer a question.
If you are interested in kind of getting involved in the Staron Road project from a student university side, please email me, wsgprez@uw.edu.
Any other questions for Director Balestri? Once or twice? Seeing none, with that, we'll move into the report of Mr. Dave Cowan, Associate Director, Student Affairs.
All right. Hi, everyone. How's it going? Happy first week of school. I hope it went well. I have nothing to report on over break. I did nothing but sleep, honestly. So, what I have done in the first week of school, have met with Dr. Eric Lett, and we are looking for student representation for faculty and what we can do to streamline how education will react to AI. So if anybody wants to contact me with any opinions, go right ahead. Just search up Khan and Outlook and you should be able to find me. As well as I am meeting with Kim Clarkson of SAI to progress on a misconduct reporting app. So as well, if you want to join in on that, feel free to email me. I hope everyone has a great semester. Feel free to reach out anytime, and I would love to get to know everybody here better. And now I should be able to question.
Any questions? I do have one. Associate Director, do you have access to, you said look your name up on Outlook? Oh, President Bradley seems to have a point.
Yeah, when emailing directors, please email their WSG emails. They should all have access now. We're going to read about that tonight. So if you don't know what their email is, let us know.
If you don't have it, tell me.
Yes. But reach out to WSG email. So for Director Khan, WSGASA@uw.edu.
If you have questions for any of the folks in the room about what that email might be, if you come see me at the front, we can walk you down to the WSG office and you can take a look right outside. Every director has business cards. Even if the director's name is out of date, the email is very accurate. And it is on the report sheet. With that, any other questions? Director Khan, once or twice? None. With that, we'll move into the report on the rest of the governmental affairs.
Hey everyone. Over break, I went to DC for the inauguration with Senator Dorfman and Chief Kusnikas. I got my library card from the Library of Congress, which was definitely my highlight. I met with some representatives from the Politics, Government, and Law Department about a potential collaboration. Attended the State of the Community event hosted by the League of Women's Voters in town, and prepared for this semester's elections. Coming this week, office hours, super excited to be back in the office. The UWW MLK Junior event is tomorrow at 3:30. I will be there. I hope to see some of you there. I have City Council on Tuesday, Landmarks Commission on Wednesday, a one-on-one with the City Manager this week, where I assume we'll be talking further about Sheridan Road, and a one-on-one with Politics, Government, and Law again to hopefully finalize some details about our collaboration. And my other thing is that the next election is February 18th. The next election is not in April, so please keep that in mind. And I yield to questions.
Wonderful. Any questions? Deputy Speaker.
What is that election on?
That election is the state superintendent, which may not seem very important, but this is the person who kind of oversees all of the education in the state. So maybe consider that that is really important and that you should vote on February 18th.
Deputy Speaker.
On February 18th, if I want to vote, where can I vote? Or how can I find that?
You can find that by looking at myvote.wi.gov and putting in your address, and it'll tell you where to vote. If you stood in line for 4 hours in November, you can vote here super quick. You don't have to wait in line. You're already registered, so please do that. It will be on the second floor in, I believe, Old Main Ballroom for February's election.
Deputy Speaker Patrice.
How was DC?
I really love the Library of Congress.
Wonderful. Any other questions? Once, twice, and none with that, we'll move into the report of our.
Good evening, y'all. Starting off, I just wanted to say I hope everyone was able to find time over winter break to relax, take time for themselves, and also I hope everyone had a good first week of classes, not too hard for anyone. Over winter break, I was able to sit down and be able to create a new outreach presentation for us, which was a lot of fun. I'm really excited for everyone to see that. And last week, I was able to meet with President Bradley and Vice President Boehm to start making new content for our upcoming social media calendar for this semester. So, I don't have any questions for anyone.
Any questions? I have one. At some point, will that calendar be of access, or is that going to be? Maybe that's a question.
Historically, it hasn't been. I don't intend on changing that unless somebody presents a really good argument in private to Parker and I.
Okay. Any questions? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, wonderful. With that, we'll move into the report of our WSG clerk, Cindy J. West.
Hey y'all. Over break and last week, I had multiple meetings with Clerk Emeritus Cartwright for this role. I began my weekly meetings with Advisor Billigan. I began scanning in old minutes, officer reports, and agendas, and uploading them to the website. We have a lot of them. I updated the website, and I created the election calendar that you'll see in a little while. And then this week I'll work on the executive election packet, which will be available at noon on Friday. I will be meeting with President Bradley and Vice President Boehm. I will be meeting with UHCS and Director Balestrini. Oh my goodness. On Tuesday, I will continue weekly meetings with Advisor Billigan, scanning in the old minutes and old backlog. And update the website. So all the new senators are on it who were sworn in today.
Any questions for the clerk? Going once, going twice, seeing none, with that, we'll move into the report of our Senate parliamentarian, Blake Irwin.
My sincerest apologies for not submitting a report. But for my report, I just want to touch on something very quickly, very briefly, that's very important to the operations of the Senate, and that is open meeting laws. They were already mentioned earlier in this meeting with why we have to do roll call vote. Yes, here they are. Nice thick packet. Effectively, open meeting laws exist to ensure that everyone who is accountable to a constituency, that is all of us, are transparent in their actions. So in order, basically, they require every meeting of the Senate to follow certain guidelines to make sure that our dealings are transparent to our constituents. Now, open meeting laws are violated when you meet a number of people constituting a quorum without following those regulations if you have the intent to do business. So if you got together a group of senators that met quorum and did not follow the proper procedures for a Senate meeting, then you would be, and then you did something like debate a piece of legislation and decide how you were all going to vote on it, you would be in violation of open meeting laws. If you got together a number of senators equaling quorum and had a pizza together, you would be fine because you didn't need to carry out a function of the Senate. This also applies to walking quorum. So if you go from senator to senator, and with each of them carry out a function of the Senate on an individual basis, you have still violated open meeting laws. It's just something to be conscious of as we are going forward into the year. It's not just legal, it's also a moral obligation of ours to be accountable to our constituents. So keep that in mind, and if you have any questions about it, please feel free to contact me or Advisor Billigan or Director of Intergovernmental Affairs Smith. They're both authorities on the issue, and the State Attorney General has also published guidance on it online, so you can look it up there or contact me and I'll send it over to you. So thank you all very much.
Wonderful. Any questions? The parliamentarian? Going once, Deputy Speaker.
Are you able to elaborate on what a negative quorum is? Can we go to Director Smith? On what a negative quorum is? If not, I can go.
Not germane to the report. I love you, but.
Couldn't agree more. Deputy Speaker Patrice, you're welcome to describe what a negative quorum is.
Sure. Negative quorum is essentially when you get a group of people who want to do business, or to do business, but to vote something down. So if let's say there's a bill on the floor, and you're like, I don't like that, I'm gonna get a quorum of people together who are all gonna say, we're gonna vote this down. Before, like that's outside of a meeting, that's what a negative quorum is.
Wonderful. Any other questions for the parliamentarian? Going once, going twice? Seeing none, with that, we'll move to the report of our Deputy Speaker, Mr. Nick Patrice.
Alright. Hello everyone. I just want to thank you all for electing me to this position. It's been such a great honor, and it will continue to be. That being said, let's get into business. Office hours start this week, so there will be either a form in the office QR code you can scan either late tonight or early tomorrow morning, depending on how late I'm here. But scan that. If you did one today, you can just go back in tomorrow or at some point this week and do that. An office hour, if you're asking, is just you go to the WSG office and sit there for an hour and do some work. It can't be WSG work related, it doesn't have to be. So if you got homework, you can just go do homework for an hour. If you have a question where the WSG office is, come see me after and I can direct you there. If you ran for appointment today, you do not have to do an office hour, but I would encourage it. The office is always open. And then if you need to contact me for whatever reason, use either WebEx or my personal email. I get that to you, or you can just go on Outlook and search up my name until I have access to the WSG email. And when I have access, you'll be the first to know. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield.
Wonderful. Any questions for the Deputy Speaker? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we'll move into my report. Again, one more big thank you all for giving me the honor to be the Speaker of the Whitewater Student Government. Like I said, to this point, greatest honor of my life. With that, I did want to mention some conduct things. As we kind of pivot into the new semester, I want to make sure that everybody understands that obviously side conversations are going to occur occasionally. You might lean over and say, how do I pronounce that person's name? But try to keep those to a minimum. If you have something to say, there are plenty of ways within the process of our body that we can say those things. I just don't want what we would call in parliamentary procedure to get a little out of whack. So let's keep everything low. Let's stay focused. When it comes to dress code, the dress code is officially business formal. We understand if you can't make business formal, jeans, a polo will be just fine, but as close as you can functionally get to business formal. And I'd like to remind you that just across campus at McCutcheon Hall, we have the Warhawk Success Closet, which has plenty of business pro. McCutcheon Hall, that one?
That way.
That way. That
Over
way.
the hill.
There are lots of different arrows. That way. Warhawk Success Closet, swing by, completely free business pro clothes that you don't rent, you own. You take them right out and they're yours. This jacket has a price tag on it, got it for completely free 2 years ago. Still wearing it to this day. So the Warhawk Success Closet is an amazing resource. Utilize it. That's a little bit on the dress code. I wanted to mention that at some point late tonight, between Wednesday, you'll get a form that will be through Connect 2 for all the newly elected senators. Anyone who took an oath today, you'll get a form that says committee assignments. It'll ask you about your interest in internal and external committees, as we normally do at the start of the semester. Also, new senators, anyone who didn't take the oath but was appointed today, come see me after the meeting so we get you all up to speed on the goodies that you'll have to bring next week. They're very great. And if you need to reach me, I am in the WSG office like a lot. So swing by and have a chat, share lunch. I intend to meet with every single senator, as I did last semester, and kind of get a good gauge for the things that we want to tackle this semester so that we can continue to be an extremely productive body. With that, my personal calendar is where you're going to see where I am and when I'm busy the best, but my speaker email, if it's about WSG, is the best way to reach me. Also, I get my phone number out to just about anyone. It's on my LinkedIn. Come and check my LinkedIn, come and ask me for it. If you have Snapchat, you can Snapchat me as well. Wonderful. That's how you access me. Any questions for myself? So once, twice, see you. Wonderful. With that, we'll move into unfinished business, of which we have none. Then on to new business, starting with item A, the 2025 Executive Elections Calendar, presented by our wonderful clerk.
Alright, so first I want to go over the one that we have in the packet that you were sent on email. Both Advisor Bilgen and I worked on this one, and we just kind of based it off the past years and it looked at the standing rules and whatnot. But about 2 hours before the meeting today, her and I met, as we realized that it does not correlate correctly with standing rules. As on this copy, the highlighted spots were the things that we changed, which are some of the dates, times, and just some of the titles. So,
For the new folks in the room, what's an executive election?
that would be the, would you want me to answer?
If you can.
Okay, that would be the election of the student body president and the vice president, which is currently occupied by President Bradley and Vice President Bain. And it's every spring. I grabbed some copies of the standing rules. So under section 11.8 on violations, it says on letter C that all alleged violations must be filed in writing and placed in the violation box in the WSG office by 9 a.m. the day following the election. And so we changed the third to bottom date, which is Thursday, April 17th, which says final notifications of violations at 9 a.m. to that day, because, what was it before you go?
Review was another table. Okay. So tell them the yellow on the screen.
Yeah. It was originally on Friday at 9 a.m. and we changed that just because whoever is running is supposed to get a notification if they have any violations the next morning after elections are over. And then D says all violations will be disclosed by the elections committee after the closing of the polls on the day after the election before 10 a.m. The violations hearing will be handled by the elections committee after 2 p.m. on the day following the election before counting the ballots. So for that one, we had to change the second to bottom, sorry, that's third to bottom and second to bottom to Thursday, April 17th, as the violations hearing can be anytime after 2 p.m. that Thursday. And then right after it, we typically count the ballots and post the unofficial election results. And then the other one I have is 13.3. It says under E6, hold a meeting prior to the counting of the ballots on the last day of voting to disclose all violations against candidates or slates and notify the candidates of the time when they can state their side in the alleged violations and of the resulting actions taken by the elections committee. So that one is supposed to be actually on Wednesday, April 16th, 2025, which we changed it to at 5 p.m. So they can just get like an early notification of any violations against them. So with that, since I submitted the presidential election calendar, this one in the packet, and it needs to be changed, I would like to ask the Senate to entertain a motion to change the original dates, times, and titles to be highlighted ones on the sheet.
Deputy Chief Trees,
So moved.
can I get a second? Senator Carter?
Second.
Wonderful. With that, we will, can I get a voice vote on it? Acclamation? Wonderful. Without moving to questions, is there any questions on the newly amended election calendar? Deputy Chief Trees?
When does the presidential election day 2 end? Does it end at midnight or 11:59? Because I recall last year we had a day gap because the election ended at midnight on would have been the day after, that day 3, or the day 2, end of the day at midnight, so technically the next day. So we had to do another whole day after. Is that not an issue this year?
It was not Connect 2, it was, how quickly I forget the nightmare that was the previous, presence, right? I think, sorry. right? So the old software was transitioning and it was, so this year, the polls will close at 11:59 on the second day, as indicated on your calendar.
Any other questions? Going once, going twice, seeing none, with that, we'll move into discussion. Any discussion? I would encourage you to vote in favor of approval. Any other discussion? Going once, going twice, seeing none, with that, we'll move into a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, at your earliest convenience, I just presented. Please call the roll.
Senator Carter?
Aye.
Senator Irwin?
Aye.
Senator Escrow?
Aye.
Senator Michael?
Aye.
Senator Miller?
Aye.
Senator Patricus?
Aye.
Senator Rosas?
Aye.
Senator Schmidt?
Aye.
Speaker Wilson?
Aye. And with that, the election calendar has been approved, for spring 2025, has been approved unanimously. That will move on to item B, S 242504, Internal Committee Realignment Act of 2025. Deputy Speaker Triggs, if you'd like to go to the podium. As well as Senator Schmidt.
Yeah.
No discussion.
All right, about this and everyone. Introduce the vote.
I'll let you do it. I'm just gonna stand here and smile at the crowd.
All right. So if you go through and read this, this is basically just some standing rules changes. And now I say standing rules changes, and you immediately go, "Uh-oh, what happened? What's changing?" Very small things. It's just things need to change to kind of realign a couple committees to have the Senate Leadership Committee, which is a plan of Speaker Wilson and I's to kind of expand Senate influence and have more people involved. So everything highlighted in yellow is to add, strike through is to remove. And you'll see here, the Communications Committee is stricken through. It's not removing it, it's just consolidating it into what up here. So if you're familiar with what the Academic Affairs and the Student Affairs Committees look like, it's basically just making the Communications Committee and then the Intergovernmental Affairs Committee look like that. So it's just a chair is the director, the vice chair is elected, rather than having a designated chair. Associate directors are vice chairs if they are hired. So Director Balistreri and then Associate Director Khan will be vice chairs of the Student Affairs Committee. Members of Senate Leadership may not be vice chairs because you can't be on the Senate Leadership Committee in 2 spots. And then I think probably the biggest thing is directors may assign work or tasks to committee members. That's been the common understanding, at least as long as I've been here, of how these committees are supposed to work. But now it's codified, and then if Director Reiser gives me a task of, go say hi to Jan, and I don't do that, she can request an unexcused absence, and then Senate leadership can look at that and determine if it's valid. And then the Elections Engagement Committee, we felt it was imperative to have the function of this committee, even though a director of intergovernmental affairs may not always exist. So we kind of created the Intergovernmental Affairs Committee. I guess we created it. And then having kept the Elections Engagement Committee to serve when a director of intergovernmental affairs is not hired. And then some Senate leadership, committee overhaul. So, yeah, this being added is essentially so to be on the Senate Leadership Committee, you must be either a vice chair or on Senate leadership or the clerk. Speaker Wilson can't just appoint Senator Schmidt to it, unless he is a vice chair of one of those 4 committees or on Senate leadership. Anything?
I mean, really, it just consolidates it, in my opinion, and allows. Sorry. Really, it just kind of consolidates what's already been put in place, and also allows more of the senators to get involved with Senate leadership and bring that back to the General Assembly. That's all I really gotta say on that.
And that was, Mr. Speaker, I yield.
Wonderful. So for those in the gallery who may be new, the way this process goes is we have R bills and we have S bills. R bills are bills that recognize, S bills are action-based bills. Action-based bills take 2 weeks. So as we move through it, know that there's a difference between S bills and there's a difference between R bills. If you have questions about that, it will be in a training that you receive very soon. We'll probably have some resources that Fingers Crossed you receive very soon. But more importantly, if you need immediate answers, please go to our parliamentarian, Blake Irwin. He will be able to explain exactly how that process works for you. But the way that goes is we will go to questions, then content changes, then clerk edits. Next week, we'll have discussion and we will vote. Clear to everybody in the room? Cool, awesome. With that, we'll move into questions. Anybody have any questions for the submitted on legislation? Go once.
Everyone.
Go for it.
Mr. Speaker, are you able to elaborate on what the Senate Leadership Committee is?
So the Senate Leadership Committee and its function had been, I think, inadequately described by our standing rules as current, and hadn't met in probably as long as I've been around, at least.
It's okay, go for it. That's not.
If you don't know,
No, it's not my recollection, but go ahead. What matters is how you want it to be, not what it's been in the past.
Yeah. So in terms of addressing the question, this change and the way it will function onward will be that the vice chairs of committees as well as the clerk and Senate leadership will help guide the internal process as we look to consistently, I think, as Senator-elect Ben, what's your last name? Remind me. Calvin. Ben Calvin said earlier, continue to grease the gears of this machine, which I love, and I think I'm going to begin using. So as we continue to review this machine, Senate Leadership Committee will be continuously in charge of making sure that those gears are adequately greased, and this legislation allows for more representation on said committee by the general body to then take items to the general body. Are there any other questions for the submitted? Wonderful. Going once, going twice. See none. That will move into content changes. Is there any content changes? Parliamentarian?
Motion to amend the legislation to remove any mention of the Senate Leadership Committee. So that is the 4th whereas. The only noting where it says, and further legitimize the Senate Leadership Committee via membership expansion. Point B, and will then serve on the Senate Leadership Committee. And point L in its entirety.
Can you re-highlight that based on the amendment? And could you further summarize what you mean? That's a change.
Effectively, this would,
can we get a second on that motion? I'm so sorry. I didn't want a second that. Going once? Going twice? Motion is died. Wonderful. With that, we'll move into any other content changes. Any other content changes? Going once? Parliamentarian Irwin.
motion to add in a, I apologize, I don't know what the section would be, but a subsection under I of section C under internal committees. So,
You said point I subsection C?
yes, so chairs may request unexcused absence for missing meetings without giving proper notice or failing to complete reasonable assigned work in a realistic time frame. I'd like to add a subsection which defines assigned work as a task proposed by a sitting chair and approved by a majority vote of the committee. And
All right. Get a second on that motion? I'll second that motion, just because I want to hear you.
Okay.
So the motion's on the floor. We'll move into discussion on the motion. You can start this.
Basically, I feel that reasonable assigned work in a realistic time frame is a exceptionally vague phrase. And also that senators should have some say in the work of the committee as well as what is being required of them. So I think that this both will increase senators' investment in the work they are assigned because they had a say in what it is, as well as ensures that reasonable work has a precise definition and can't be misunderstood or misconstrued in any situation.
Can you make sure that that change is adequately reflected on the screen? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. We're making sure that everybody can see. If you have any accessibility concerns right now, I know it could be a little awkward to mention it, but if you do and you can't see, please mention it. We want to make sure that everybody has an adequate ability. Chairs may request unexcused absence.
This is what it currently reads, everyone, just for context.
And
Yeah.
oh, that's
Jesus, that is very large. Oh, pardon me. Yes. I don't know.
So if you're looking at the document in front of you, 8.2 EC, and then if you look at I, it was currently on the screen right here. Erwin is wanting to add another subsection. Do you want it as II or III? II. So it would go right between the two there, just for context. If you need me to point it out to you, you can come to us so I can.
Another subsection.
Yeah, I think you want
subsection
I wanted
I.
it as a subsection, but I didn't know what the
It would be like-
subsection
Okay,
I
I
was.
believe
subsection.
it would be like
So it's subsection.
Yes.
Lowercase a.
Lowercase a, yes, I would like
So
to be a lowercase a.
And a lowercase a under I.
Yes.
Pure G.
Okay, so you're currently looking at the legislation. Under E, under C, under E, would be section I. Under section I would be an A, and A would read, is that an accurate reflection? Reasonably assigned work will be defined as any task given by the chair approved by the committee in a simple majority vote?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. With that, we'll move into discussion on the motion. Before we move into discussion, everybody get the motion? Cool.
It is adding this
Could you highlight that?
right
Could you
under here.
Could you highlight it on the document when you get back to it?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. With that, we'll move into discussion.
Point of information, wouldn't it be, C, like 1A instead of IA, because that is the Roman numeral for 1 in that?
I think we will deal with formatting upon the.
Format looks good.
So you can go here, enter, tab, should be right, similar to how that.
If you can envision what that looks like, it is correct.
Okay.
It's a little hard to envision right now, but
Oh my gosh.
I mean, if it's that big, then
Thank you.
Does anyone have any confusion?
any other discussion? Yeah, we'll take discussion from the gallery because. Keller?
I would ask, I understand the idea that maybe the work being put on the senators is fair or maybe unjust, if that's the purpose behind this.
But what if it was changed to, if the senator believes the work is unfair or unjust, they have the ability to command a vote by the committee? Why force a vote by the committee? It just seems like an extra step that might not be needed most times.
I would motion to amend the amendment to reflect that. Can I get a second on that? Senator Carter?
Second.
I don't know.
Wonderful. The amended motion is on the floor. Parliamentary procedure, folks. Let's go on. Okay, so where's my notes? So we do reasonably assigned group, assigned by the chair.
Well, if you're gonna change it to. It's I'm a friendly
Okay, so we would say
that can be.
this take time for it, right? Okay, wonderful. Keller, did you write that down? Yes, I did. Could you re-say that exactly?
Sure. So in this case, the work is going to the senator, correct?
Passing the custom board?
Okay.
So I signed up for folks. Alright.
If you want. Could you just give me a hand with this?
I'll stand up.
President Bradley?
Mr. Speaker, point of personal privilege. I'm going to be releasing the cabinet as we will also be meeting on Wednesday evening. Don't want to bog down their entire week with hours full of meetings.
Not a word. Thank you for your attendance.
And then the.
We good? So it now reads, Nick and Deputy Speaker Patrice, if you could read this as written, because I can't quite get a good look at it.
Okay, so it is to add this, or Senator Keller, correct me if I am misrepresenting what you asked, or Speaker Wilson, since you made the motion, and then to strike this.
Actually, I would say to leave the bottom one.
Leave it?
Can I, wait. As I'm making the motion, if the senator believes the work is unfair or unjust, they have the ability to command a vote by the committee.
It would be called a
request.
Yeah, say call a vote. And if you could say a simple majority vote, call a simple majority vote.
Then should
Well, you have to define what the vote would do.
Is that your motion,
You have
Mr.
to-
Speaker?
You have to say like that.
Do I-
Call the vote, overturn the assigned by the city.
Which could overturn the assignment by the supermajority. You did it correct. We have the ability to call a vote. Yeah. Call a vote by the committee which would overturn the assigned vote.
Oh, it works? Okay.
Okay, wonderful. So now there is an amendment on the floor that we are still discussing. Any other discussion on the amendment? As I submitted it, would encourage you to vote in favor of the amendment. I think in general, the original amendment allowing a senator, I think in general, I like the principle that directors can assign work, and I think it is one of the pivotal parts of our body. And I think having the senator be able to call the vote is a much better form of conducting. I think that was a wonderful idea by Senator Keller.
Director Ryan.
Yeah, being the chair of one of the internal committees, I do like that amended version, because it is really helpful having senators, in the committees and being able to, distribute some work. Like, for example, in instructor awards, it's really helpful having senators, be able to help with that, and so I think it would just be tedious and a waste of time if we had to vote on every single thing that I would assign. So I am more in favor of that amended version.
Okay, wonderful. Senator Miller? Miller? Yeah.
Is the last word that's supposed to be work instead of vote?
Is it? I apologize.
Assigned work. Thank you very much.
Apologize.
Not a word.
My error.
Any other discussion? Okay, with that, we will move into a vote on the amendment, roll call vote, a vote of aye would be in favor of what is currently highlighted. That does not add it to the legislation, that adds it to the amendment, which we will then revisit the amendment in just one moment. Madam Clerk, are you ready?
It was a part of the amendment, so this is now the amendment.
We're gonna run the other one. Is it? Okay.
Mr. Speaker, or sorry, Advisor Baird, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just want to be clear. Was there a second to your amendment to the amendment? Then it belongs to the body. So, but I just, in the future, that's my understanding of the last version of Robert's Rules. So, but I would move forward how you started, so you're being consistent, but in the future, if there's a second, it can't be withdrawn. Because it's owned by the body at that point. But just, I would say it's
what was
9:45, move on. I just heard, yeah, go.
We'll move on. We can do. Okay, wonderful. So with that, we'll move to a roll call vote on the amendment. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Senator Carter?
Aye.
Senator Irwin?
Aye.
Senator Estel? Aye. Senator Michael?
Aye.
Senator Millett? Aye. Senator Rodriguez?
Aye.
Senator Rosas?
Aye.
Senator Smith?
Aye.
Speaker Wilson?
Aye. And with that, the amendment is passed. Okay, wonderful. Now we'll move on to the amendment, which is now, it now officially reads that. Yeah. The amended amendment now officially reads, if a senator believes the word is unfair or unjust, and the ability, and it would be a subsection. Are we all up to date on that? Is there any other discussion? To be clear, I am in favor and would encourage you all to vote out. Is there any other discussion? I'll take it now. On once, on twice. Seeing none, with that, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Senator Carter?
Aye.
Senator Irwin?
Aye.
Senator Estel?
Aye.
Senator Michael?
Aye.
Senator Millett?
Aye.
Senator Rodriguez?
Aye.
Senator Rosas?
Aye.
Senator Smith?
Aye.
Speaker Wilson?
Aye. And with that, the amendment is passed unanimously. Okay, wonderful. We are back to the legislation. Any other discussion on the legislation as a whole? With the understanding that the legislation will read what is now split into two, but we'll make that clear.
I believe the legislation is amended, but not the amendment was passed.
The legislation. Wonderful. Any other discussion?
Or content changes. Not discussion, content changes.
Any other content changes? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none, with that, we'll move to clerical edits.
Mr. Speaker, I have one.
Submit.
1 second here. Oh, that's sorry, if we could make the titles reflected by, in the submitters and sponsors, updated to the ones for the elections tonight. That's my correct on it. Update these to the current one.
Okay. Any objection? Hearing seeing none. So change. All right, with that, we'll move. We're done. Oh, my God, wonderful. Okay, so next week,
Discussion.
Are we on discussion?
Because you did content changes and you declare.
Oh, wonderful. All right, wonderful. We're down to the discussion. Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Very well. Any discussion on the legislature? I think we had a shot. We had discussion.
Yeah, we did.
We did discussion.
Yeah. We're inside now.
One wants to address something. Okay. Wonderful. And with that, next week, as it's an ESCO, we will vote on the bill. Everybody got it? Okay, wonderful. And with that, we will move on to, I believe, our announcements. Announcements. Any announcements? Me and President Bradley will be at the Martin Luther King event tomorrow in the Hamilton Room. If you want to meet us somewhere, we can all walk over together. We'll be in the WSG office a bit before 3. So come on over and we can all walk to the event in Hamilton. Senator Carter.
Via Vice President Bain, if anyone wants to join me at any time on Wednesday at the involvement fair, please let him know so that way he can get time set up with you. I will be there all day from 11 to 2, so.
Deputy Speaker. Okay. Any other announcements? Madam Clerk?
I will be sending out the elections packet on Broadway Avenue. I'll also have physical copies sitting outside of the office. And I also just want to take this time to remind everyone that we should not be talking about the elections at all in any of the WSG offices or any of our spaces.
Quick precision. When you say elections, you mean?
The executive.
So not elections.
Unless it's questions of the clerk.
Yeah. Okay.
She can
Wonderful.
talk about it all she wants.
Great job, folks. We held in there. Newly elected senators, please come see me at the adjournment of the meeting. With that, can I get a motion to adjourn? Senator Carter.
Motion adjourned.
Seconded by Senator Rose.
That's yours.
Wonderful. With that, we are out of here at 9:49.
Gee.
Okay, Ben. Normally they do. This one went a little.
This is where I believe that God exists, because if it doesn't, it's stated.
They were so long we were debating that bill. This one, like, yeah, we go to another table then. Like, I needed to talk to her supervisor, and now she's gone. Oh, goodness. What a
It's like standing for like 9 o'clock, it's gonna leave big. See you later.
Thank you for coming, Jeff.
Yep, absolutely.
Good night.
So bi-state is going to rotate every time you have roll, so it won't always start from here.
Oh.
That's what I was trying to tell you, is every time there's a ballot.
I thought it was.
I can just say something, it's opposite from
I thought it was because,
No, you did it right, she was just rotating.
No, you're all good. This was, even for me, I was there.
Unless otherwise specifically provided by statute, this secret ballot may be utilized to serve any election or other decision of a governmental body, except the election of the officers of such a body.
So why are we bringing this map?
Because sometimes we just look through things and we realize that we've been making mistakes for countless years. We're totally doing it. Welcome to the Whitewater Student Government. Plenty of returners, plenty of new folks. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. You don't normally know this long, as people can tell you. See, I've never seen the cabinet get dismissed, so that's all okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I was about to lose my phone for a second.
No worries. I'm glad you're here. So, what all of you will have in your email in the next 24 hours is a signature packet. That signature packet will require that you get signatures from within your district, from people essentially supporting your election. You want to present those to the clerk by.
Oh.
Your time ran out?
I didn't have my key though.
It's 11. We've always done Sunday, kind of. But if you're changing that, it's more like the same. Can I say noon Sunday? I'm gonna tentatively say noon Sunday, but it'll say in the email. Practice has been noon Sunday for a long time. So tentative noon Sunday, if that changes, you'll know in your email. 55 signatures on noon Sunday, from your district. So if you live in the Esker district, they gotta live in the Esker district. If you're at large, you can get it from anybody. If you're off campus, you gotta get it from people who live off campus.
I'm confused about what district you were in or what the district boundaries are.
Drumlins. 6-pack plus Mikey.
Yeah, could I get you all to write your emails on this sheet of paper?
Like there should be a
And
map
out,
on like our
and
website.
as you do that, I will also let you know, that we will add you to what is called the campus group, also known as Connect To. Many of you are already on it, a few of you are not. Once your email is on there, we'll make sure everybody on there is on Connect To. It's where we send out the agenda every week, it's where we send out relevant information to senators, about mandatory trainings, etc. We'll make sure everyone is completely up to speed. I know this was a lot tonight. Thank you all for sitting with it. Any questions right now?
So throughout the week, do your returners still have access to the office, or?
Yeah, everyone, it's a student, it's a student's office. You can bring anyone from anywhere into that office. That office is completely owned by the students of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. If it's closed after hours, you'll all get office access at some point. Returning senators like Keller, and we can take your access off.
Okay.
Keith Houston, we didn't take your access off.
Yeah.
I think you were in a weird limbo.
Yeah.
You may have it, you may not. We'll have to check. We'll get the new folks office access. That takes a couple weeks. And
You know me well enough.
yeah, so just, if no one's there, we'll open the door for you. That's office access, but that office is completely owned by the students of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. So swing by, the door's open, it's your office. Don't worry about it.
You know where the office is?
Everybody know where the WSG office is? Okay, wonderful. Any other questions? You can.
Do you recommend that we get more than 25 signatures in case someone can't be verified?
Yep, so, thank you for bringing that up. So I would get 26, 27 signatures, 30 is ideal, but like, whatever you can get, obviously. But going over allows when Madam Clerk goes through and is verifying signatures, she is going to reach out to the people, some of the people who signed your signature packet. If someone is slow to respond, whether they put their email or their number down, it helps if we have a backup right away that we can verify. Next week, the process that y'all go through will look like the process that we went through at the start of the meeting. You'll come up, you'll take the oath, I'll deliver it, you'll take your seat. Any other questions? Everyone's going to, I see none. All right, wonderful. Y'all are out of here. Thank you so much for your patience. Have a great night. If you have any other personal questions, you're welcome to ask them. Or you want my phone number or anything like that.
Question.
What's up?
How's it feel to hit that?
Good, you want to try?
Hey, you, it's like sacred. The president of the Political Science Student Association?
I was looking at that. Are you still looking at like the public?
Yes, we are. Something.
How do I apply for that?
We're gonna have a meeting, our meetings are currently set for Wednesdays. Well, I guess it's 5, it's not until the. Oh, it's within, it's not, right next meeting, we'd have to have that
Okay.
set.
So we're definitely looking right now for people.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
It's good, sorry, I have to pull up the room, so I don't see the.
Sorry. He's president, vice president after that meeting. We're a little tired. We're a little
Yeah, I'm a little.
Dude, when I had to go up there, they please don't. I'm like,
I've already worked 7 hours a day plus school.
I was like, man, my brain's going. I ain't got.
I used to be mechanics.
I could have done it before. I think
But no, I felt that like I'm just gonna stand here and smoke.
That's what I was like.
I love there was also like an email message, but I didn't respond because I saw it during the thing, and like I'm not pulling that out mid-meeting. Okay, sorry, give me the room is. I'm sorry.
Me and you are on the same page.
Well, everyone's just looking here, and I'm like, Highland Hall 2312.
And it'll be, the room is reserved from 5 to 7, but it's not intended for a 5 to 7 meeting. I just would like to, I'm a person where my philosophy is I would have it so that, you know, because the other thing too is occasionally like this one will probably have a slight e-board afterwards. Just like pretty quick, just so we can like meet some meetings.
It'll probably be like a feature officer.
It's gonna be short. It's not gonna be long. It'll be like, here's the club, here's kind of the events we have planned.
Yeah.
What else do you want?
We'll get you in the loop for what's happening because we do have some stuff planned, and one of them is currently very much involved in meetings.
Oh yeah, I've already started doing the other one. I've gotten connections for the people because right now the thing for the job thing is people coming in to explain. I've already talked to the PPA, so they with
We'll get you
Ralston,
more
so-
update on.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we'll have a lot of fun.
At the meeting and everything.
What's your name again? I'm sorry.
Olivia Gross.
Olivia, thanks. My name is Ben Kelvin.
Nathan.
Sure. That's the nature of our.
No, it's
I don't know who you are.
On this
So
one.
you're,
I don't know this man. This man.
you're, what's your name? Is it?
What is your name? Is your name Mars? Like a candy one? Sorry.
Oh. God damn it, dude.
But I said.
Are you veteran to it, right?
Veteran two. You know what? Oh my. Okay. I got anything else to do? Otherwise, I
Where you planning?
You say that.
I have no idea.
I'm literally in shambles. Constantly.
What are you doing this?
I just do my work on
A general.
So?
Everyone will reach out and say.
Oh, when am I doing it? Is that what you said?
Yes.
I don't know. Probably Wednesday, sometime this week. That's for Friday. I'm not gonna be this.
Living no one. Just basically I'm gonna throw down there. Oh Lord, it's gonna be busy. It's funny now. On Tuesday during the thing, I have a meeting with the office this week. It's gonna be fun. Yeah. I'll do that. All right, I gotta eat out of here. I'll talk right now.
Understandable. I gotta see.
No, I got friends. Literally, I was waiting, and I'm like, I didn't expect the meeting to go 3 hours.
I know, right? It's always texting me.
It's on average like 1 to 2 hours, right?
Normal.
I think you, this is like almost
What? Like sometimes even shorter. Like there's some meetings that are like probably like 45 minutes. There's some that are like an hour, some that are like an hour and a half.
There's only been one this year that I've recollected that's went this long.
Yeah.
Was it probably something like contentious or like? This was just the elections that took the majority part of this, right?
It was something with. I saw academic advising. There was a career. It was a career advising.
Okay, I gotta head out. I'll head up with you. Nathan. Tomorrow, where do you want to meet beforehand? Class ends 1:45.
Yeah.
Can you message me his office number just so I don't know? Does he know that I'm there? That he'll be coming? Has he approved that? He seems very tepid. I don't want him to be like, man, I'm not talking to this.
You should be all good from what I know. So I thought.
Okay, I just wanted to.
Have a good one.
I saw the email too, so I know how that was very tepid.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm gonna head out of here.
I thought you
I literally gotta get up at like 5:30 tomorrow too, so that's nice.
Oh yeah, I have this. I have homework tomorrow.
Heath, good to see you, man. Good to see you.
So,
Congrats on the parliamentarian, man.
Thank you.
Ben, is it?
as a senator.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Obviously,
I just wanted to
but
say,
I'll say something about
great
You can be right.
from
because I just
what you said up there.
it is harmful to the Senate.
Member.
Yeah, I do appreciate your running and your knowing of the processes. I think you'll make a really great parliamentarian.
But
because
Thursdays
you show
at least,
mastery
maybe?
of knowledge even in your.
Awesome. Good. Usually.
I look forward.
If I can offer one piece of advice, just
There's a good chance that
your reasons for being here, your goals very clear in your mind. It's very easy to get waylaid unimportant issues.
Kind of get lost in the road.
Yeah.
There you go. Because that's the big, because I don't know. And mine, it's broad. I would have more specific things. That kind of was the broad thing. I want to be like Whitewater. I don't know. And we're just we're doing good. And also too, within our meeting boundaries, so we see what we can do.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, nice working with you again. I'll see you.
How you doing, brother?
More on. All right.
Yep. Go, Blake.
Good luck to both of you gathering your signatures.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's that much longer. We got this one, all that stuff.
I
Makes sense.
don't know.
It's probably gonna.
I guess I could ask Mike.
Exactly, so who knows exactly how it's gonna
So
go.
I don't, I think Jan is gonna make probably
How did you
very
feel about
rational argument.
Ben is
So-
the president, right? Of your
Yeah.
group, yeah? How did you feel about him being in it now? He's part of
I mean,
the
I
don't like
I
that.
usually encourage
No, I hate the
Why?
Probably from
The
the
Senate
beginning,
Leadership
I said,
Committee is
like I
pointless.
said,
There's no
he
issue
knew
with
that was one of my
there's
times.
no issue with
Because
you
we
could
could
go
go
to
to
them, which
I
would
have the
not
Senate
be
stuff
so
applied. Like, so he knew about it around the last
In my
semester.
opinion, it's just
Sure, I said
another way to
to
give
Ben
the
about
couple
Senate and stuff.
power to direct the Senate when the
I was
Senate
about to say,
should
I've
be
spoken
directing
to him
itself.
so I was more than,
Which is what,
I
and
know he's more
also
than qualified.
the way the legislation was
We need a
handled.
lot of confidence.
So yes, I plan to vote against
Get a
it.
family.
That's not
No
bad.
idea. I'd like to one with that more, because I was just told that it's really okay.
Yeah, sure. You want to do it right now?
Not now, I'm sure. Okay, but at some point, maybe this week.
Sure. Do you have any form of my contact information?
I'm sure, appreciate that. And also,
And just let me know.
I want to say hello.
Last time it took a few weeks, so.
You mind if I look at it?
Tomorrow night.
Isaiah
Tomorrow.
wants to.
Yeah, I won't be in the office
Because
tonight.
there's still cookie stuff.
There's
There's
a lot
a lot
of
of cookies.
a semester's worth.
There's a semester's worth of cookies.
Yeah.
And I gotta get them in my apartment somehow. I mean, if we show up and cookie stuff, and we don't start making cookies, it seems like there's an
And is it right now?
So- No, is it about cookies or?
No.
It's about the open meeting rules.
Yep.
Open meeting rules.
I've only been here for a semester. I'm not.
And we didn't cover them much, and I think they're gonna be treated much more seriously.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
this semester.
rules like those.
And
you
little
love
lots of
it.
things.
They said that earlier.
Being a little afterthought of yours. Makes me feel
You
special.
know that.
I'm sorry,
I have.
You're very special.
Well, yes is the answer to what you just said.
Thanks for sticking around for the rest of your
Yeah.
evening.
Alright, if you have any other questions, we'll call around the procedure, office hours.
Yeah, I know the
Senate stuff. You good?
Good. Okay, good. I just sometimes when the meeting's going, I'm just like, I need to ask that.
I'm glad you asked, I'm so glad you asked. I think I'm gonna start bringing up the things that everybody asks after the meetings, at the next meeting, okay, we have questions about this.
Yeah.
Let's address this as a body, because I think it's important, so.
Alright. What's that? Nick, play us up to go to the chief. That sound like a.
If there's general
Well,
questions.
to be fair,
Sometimes.
well, like, didn't you just say that there's no point in having?
Yeah, I was like, alright, Joe's gonna get up here.
Yeah.
And then wait for
Let's, Nick, we're doing Senate leadership right here.
No, I don't want to do it right here.
Alright, see you guys.
Did you answer that question? You should answer that.
No, you
question.
didn't really.
I was going to.
But I wanted Nick to be.
Okay, no, let me ask.
There is.
You can sit in on the, I think that's gonna be the first item of agenda on the Senate Leadership Committee. You wanna sit in on it?
I didn't want
Perfect.
get it.
Glad you agree. Okay.
There's a difference between business before the Senate and questions. There's just sometimes that questions senators will have will only be things that they're wondering about that the entire body doesn't need to spend time on. The longer the meetings last, the less attention. Less attention.